competitive advantage in today's data-driven world. Look no further than earning your master's in business analytics from the University of Louisville, which you can now accomplish in just 12 months. Used to be 13, now it's 12. There's still no previous coding experience required. You'll delve into the world of analytics and data visualization, learning essential tools like R, Python, Power BI, machine learning, and more. These classes are now available both online or in person. To get started or to learn more, visit business.louisville.edu today. We're on the air from 2:32 until 5:30 here on 1450 AM, 96.1 FM, streaming across the globe. You know us better as the Big X. Mike Rutherford and Roman Kelly here with you. On a Thursday edition of the show, we've got more big-time news in the scheduling world for U of L men's basketball to talk about. We've got NBA first-round draft reaction to talk about. We've got some football recruiting nuggets to talk about. We've got to take a shot at one of our Big X brethren today. We don't like doing the friendly fire thing, but we're going to have to at some point today. We'll discuss that, and we'll also get with you on the Gameday Men's Health text line at 502-414-1450. Weigh in there with your questions, your comments, your concerns, whatever you got. We will talk about them today. Roman Kelly's here producing the absolute hell out of the show. As always, follow him on Twitter at RomyBean. Roman, how are you, bud?
Doing great, Mike. Had a interesting first half of the day so far, but feeling good. Glad the weather's cooled down with this rain.
Interesting good or interesting bad? Or interesting just
interesting,
not really sure?
2003 Honda Pilot.
Again?
Well, I mean, I told you about my mirror getting hit when it was broke down Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Had to go to pull apart today. And I needed a new mirror sometime last year, and I went through the situation, but we got a free one because somebody had like an old junk Pilot, same year.
Nice.
And in that process, I lost my 10-millimeter wrench. So I had to go to a hardware store today, buy a new 10-millimeter wrench. I also bought a 10-millimeter socket to go in my socket wrench because I'd lost that like 2 years ago. And 10 millimeters is quite literally the only thing I need in the almost said a bad word there, in the toolbox. And so I went there, got that, went to pull apart this like big junkyard out on Recovery Road out there, kind of near Hoops Bar and Grill.
I know where that is. I've been there once. I had to take a car out there one time as well.
And I go in, pay my $2, take my new 2 wrenches in there, because I know it's just 3 10-millimeter bolts to take the, you pull a plastic cap off in 10-millimeter and you pull the mirror right off. Super easy to get off. And they're like, all right. I knew there was like 3 Honda Pilots in there. All of them had the mirror that I needed. None of them were the right color. They were all black mirrors. And then like one white one. And I'm looking. I finally find one, no mirror on it. Find another one, no mirror on it. Find another one that I didn't know existed. It also didn't have a mirror on it. And I'm giving up. I'm walking out because it's too hot and I'm soaking wet. And I finally find another Honda Pilot, same exact color as mine, and it has the mirror on it. So I grab it, get it off there real fast, and head home or head to the station.
Bang.
Gonna put that on after work. Got a wheel bearing today. Put the alternator in last night. Went well. Only took me an hour and 50 minutes. And I'm gonna put the wheel bearing on this weekend. The new wheel bearing in the left wheel well that's making a crazy noise when I brake and turn. And then that'll hopefully fix all the major issues, and we'll be back on a regular scheduled program of just small issues.
Would you like to come over to my house after the radio show and put together our new bed?
No.
Okay.
No more fixing.
Thought I'd ask.
Can't do any more fixing outside of this car for quite some time.
I'm finally living my dream of having a king bed, Roman.
King size bed?
Very excited about this. I've always wanted a king size bed. We have not had one. I need room. I'm a restless sleeper. I've got restless legs. They're driving me absolutely insane these days until about 4 a.m. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Only people who have the restless leg stuff will get what I'm talking about. Like you literally like cannot sleep. You feel like you're in this constant state of needing to stretch your legs and having this terrible feeling. And then like in the morning, it's just gone. Or at some point, like in the late night, it's just gone. And you feel totally fine. And it's the most frustrating thing in the world. But it helps having a little bit of extra room. I need that space. I need to be able to kind of like just be restless. And the queen bed just doesn't do it anymore. It's just not big enough. So we're in the process of John needs a new bed. He's got to get his big kid bed. We've been kind of letting him bunk up with Virginia, hoping that they'll sleep in the same bed, which never happens. And so we gotta change his room out. When we moved into this new house, Mary took the office as made one of the bedrooms her office, and then John kind of was still doing like sort of like a nursery / bedroom. Now he's going to move into the office. We're going to move Mary's stuff to John's bedroom, and so he's going to get our bed. We're going to get the king size bed. But we got to put it together now. I don't want to do that, but got to do what you got to do. So that's what's waiting for me when I get home tonight.
It's a nice upgrade.
I'm excited about it. Every time we go to like a hotel and we get a king size bed, I'm like, oh, I could just sleep here all day. It's wonderful. I'm very excited about this, but I'm not excited to put the frame and all the new stuff together.
You got to watch out for those hotels, though, Mike.
Why?
They got butt juice on the covers.
Well, yeah. That comes with the territory, though. It's either you deal with a little bit of butt juice on the covers, or you, like, don't have a place to sleep.
I used to not even think about that. And it's crazy what one YouTube video can do.
Well, there was like a Dateline special 20 years ago where they went into a hotel room with a black light, and it just ruined the whole thing for everybody. The big thing that you have to avoid at hotels, Roman, everyone knows, they don't wash the what do they call it, the duvet, the
duvet cover.
Yeah, the comforter, whatever you want to call it, the top cover. Everyone knows that. The big thing, Roman, is that little glass they keep for you in the bathroom. Don't drink out of that glass.
Okay.
There are cameras all over hotels. They never clean it. Maybe they put like a little dash of water in there and they turn it right back over, put that little piece of paper on top. Never drink out of that glass. I saw a special on it one time. I'll never drink out of the glass again. That's the one thing where, because then you think about it too, and you're like, yeah, if I'm a hotel maid, I'm doing all the big stuff. I'm doing the vacuuming. I'm changing the sheets. But like that little glass, you could probably get away with just like turning that bad boy over and not really giving it a full rinse. I'm probably doing the same thing. Don't touch that glass.
I'll stay away from the glass.
Stay away from the glass.
I always kind of feel weird about like the little ice buckets too, but
yeah, I do too. But sometimes you have to use them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got.
Thankfully, they usually have a bag nowadays.
Well, especially when I was like your age, we use them for the purposes that they're not really supposed to be used for. But yeah, like you had to do what you had to do back in the day with the ice bucket, and you had to utilize it. I mean, I do. You kind of just have to put it out of sight, out of mind. If you go in there with like a germaphobe mentality, you're gonna get grossed out. Other people have stayed here. Someone else was sleeping in this bed like 24 hours ago. You've just got to go in, just say like, whatever. Out of sight, out of mind. Not thinking about it. Let's go. We got to do it. It's a vacation, for God's sake. We got to do what we got to do. I feel like that's a little bit harder for you.
Yeah.
But you're kind of like naturally a germaphobe, aren't you?
A little bit.
A little bit.
I feel like I do a lot of things in life that are hypocritical about that. But
well, we're all hypocrites. It's fine. Everybody alive's a hypocrite in some way, shape, or form. So is it good? Productive Wednesday night, though, for you, or Thursday afternoon?
Very, very productive Wednesday night, and so far, so good for Thursday's productivity.
Good.
I didn't do a great I'm doing that last night, and then like I'm chilling with my buddy who I did it with, and then I'm chilling with Cool Dad after it's done, and we're just talking about some stuff. So I'm only I'm reading the draft happen in live time. I'm watching it on the draft cast. I'm not watching it on TV. And then I didn't do any research. I didn't do any of the people I like to listen to react to stuff like that. Not the couple of YouTubers I like who are everyday kind of guys. I didn't do any watching on that. So I didn't do the greatest outline today for my run-in with Roman and Roman's recap show. So that, not really actually the most productive day, but.
If you were watching the actual draft coverage, I think you just would have been disappointed.
That's what I heard. All my buddies were complaining in the group chat saying it was
terrible.
Corny and bad. So, each year it gets a little worse, so.
I admittedly, I go into last night, and my primary focus last night is Reds Yankees. I want to get the sweep, so I go into draft time. I'm watching that. Well, first of all, we're trying to get the kids dinner and do all that stuff, but I've got the Reds game on in the TV outside, so I can kind of see it through the sliding glass door, and so I'm paying attention to Reds Yankees because Cooper Flagg's going to be the first pick, and you can kind of react to the stuff that happens afterwards. But the Reds quickly get down. And they're never really threatening to make it a game. You can tell pretty early on, like we're getting freeded. We're getting freeded up the what. Like Max is dealing. We can't touch him. We give up a 2-run bomb in the third to make it 3-0, and at that point I'm like, yeah, we're probably cooked here. So I keep flipping back and forth, and then I'm spending more time watching the draft. And I typically kind of roll my eyes at every coverage is bad. I'm like, they're doing the best they can. It's not that terrible. This was awful. Like it was ridiculous. Like the post-draft interviews were, it felt like a like a high school kid trying to interview somebody like a high school teammate for a class production. Like just very, very awkward. Nothing felt normal. It felt super amateur. And then like, I've got the same complaint that a lot of people have. You've got Jay Billis up there on that stage, who, you say what you will about him. I know he rubs people the wrong way a little bit now. He clearly knows more about these players being drafted than the other people that are up there with him. I mean, does anybody trust Stephen A. Smith to have watched more than like 5 seconds of college basketball this year? No. And they're letting Billis talk like very minimally. And like, they're just
that's terrible.
They're just like simple mistakes here and there. You're not getting in-depth coverage. You're not getting, you're not hearing anything that you don't already know. And then, I mean, you've got the embarrassing moments like calling Cedric Coward Colin Coward, which is, that should not happen on a professional draft broadcast. It just, I know people complained a lot about the NBA Finals coverage. It made the NBA Finals coverage look pristine. It was just, it was tough to watch. I found myself like just turning the volume off and like turning on a podcast when I was sitting outside watching it and just like kind of halfway paying attention and looking up when I would see someone get drafted, just because I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. But it was we'll talk about the draft last night, some of the interesting things that took place, some of the interesting things that didn't take place. I want to ask, though, generally, you being an NBA guy, you being somebody who loves the draft. I mean, I've always loved the draft as well. I talked yesterday about not being able to get into this specific draft as much. I still watched. What do you think about the whole, like, splitting day one and day two into, or round one and round two into two separate days?
I don't like it.
It seems a little much.
I don't think you need to do it with that many picks. This started earlier.
Yeah, I mean, also, you could do it. I don't know why we do this Wednesday, Thursday. Like, you used to always be like Saturday, just like one big day. Just do it the same way that it's always been. I mean, like,
you're taking away even more importance from the second round picks.
Yeah,
at least on draft day or draft day 2. Like, there's even less importance now because people know it's the names they don't know about. They've already forgotten what picks and trades have happened, like what picks have gotten moved and traded from day one by day 2, if it's outside of the lottery, really. I think you'd get more coverage, you'd get more interest.
Yeah. Same.
It'd be better feeling for the players. You got more guys down in the draft room, more families, more teams, more team fans because they know they're going to see multiple picks for their team. I don't know.
It just seems unnecessary to split it up.
Yeah.
I get why the NFL does, and I think it's a good move. First of all, the NFL is, like we always talk about, it's in its own world. Like they should do things differently than everybody else because they are different than everybody else when it comes to money and attention and all that good stuff. But split, you got 7 rounds. The first round is for kind of the average fan to tune in and see who gets taken in the top 10 and all that stuff. And then you get 2 full days where there's 6 rounds of picks, and the diehards can really lock in and pay attention to that. With the NBA draft, I mean, it's 2 rounds. It's 2 rounds, and you have a lot of time where the players taken in the second round are just as well known as the players taken in the first round, and it feels different. It feels sort of strange to break that up. Like, I'll pay attention to the draft tonight just because, like, I know a lot of the guys who are going to be, like, Janai Broome hasn't had his name called.
Yeah,
and like most, the Player of the Year in college basketball last season. Adu Tiero hasn't had his name called. A bunch of guys that were very impactful at the college level are still out there, and so that's interesting to somebody like me. And I just don't understand why you wouldn't just start the thing an hour earlier and just roll it over. It just, there was more time last night. They could have done it, but, I guess the theory is stretch everything out if you can these days. So we'll have a second round tonight. We can talk about some of the guys that are still available. But and then we'll discuss the first round a little bit coming up after the break. I did. The Reds got thumped last night, but we kind of saw that coming.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, Max Fried he's really good. I'm still not saying we're back though. I needed the win last night to say it. If we sweep the Padres this weekend, Roman, then we're back. We're just hanging out. We're just hanging out. Let the record show. Obviously, I would love to see the Reds make the playoffs. I would love to see the Reds advance in the playoffs for the first time since 1995, which is an outrageous thing to say out loud. My main goal, though, the bar that I need them to clear, is the same as just about every year. Get me close to football season. they're still playing interesting baseball as of right now. They're 3 back in the wild card, I believe, 5.5 out in the Central. Every game at this point still matters, which is good. We're not the Rockies. We're not a team that's the Pirates who can't even beat the Cubs with Paul Skeens. Could use a little bit of help there. That's okay. We're playing meaningful baseball deep into June. If we can keep this going until like mid-August, then okay. I'm not going to be happy if you fade away, but you've gotten me to football season. That's my primary goal as a Reds fan, which is pathetic, but we are a pathetic franchise. Hand up. We admit it. It's who we are. Until that changes, this is the best that we can hope for. So they're keeping me interested as of right now, which I appreciate. Also keeping me interested, the summer scheduling news that's coming out around U of L men's basketball. Let's get right into it. The story comes out today. There have been murmurs, I guess, early in the morning. U of L then goes ahead and makes it official right around noon. How does a Valentine's Day date with Scott Drew and the Baylor Bears sound, Roman?
Sounds amazing, Mike.
I love this. Would I love it more? I mean, let's get...
I do, too, because I've been praying on Scott Drew's downfall for a couple of years now.
You have. I feel like there's legitimate beef between us and Baylor right now. And it's not just the whole...
It's a weird beef, though.
It's weird.
Because I wouldn't change things.
No.
If I could go back.
But the beef is more about, you have on one hand, it's like, he turned you down. You wanted him. That part of the beef, I felt like it got softened a little bit because a month later, he did the exact same thing to Kentucky when they put even more of a full court press on him, and they felt even more strong about their chances to like, we went into the Scott Drew deal being like, it's not a Hail Mary, but we recognize that the deck is stacked against us.
You turned down better fans, better culture, better history, better resources.
Right, but we went in there, and I mean, I kept saying the same thing the whole time. I was like, I think this isn't just a like, got to make him say no. I was like, I think he's going to listen. There's a legitimate chance that we could land this guy. Do I think it's like 50%? No. I think the odds of him turning us down are way better than the odds of him accepting the job. But this is our first offer. Like this is the first box that we're looking to check. And with UK, they very much went into it with the mentality of like,
there's no way he doesn't.
Yeah, if he's the guy we're going after, he's the guy we're going to get. So I feel like they have even more of like bad blood on that front. But where I think the bad blood between us and Baylor still exists, the fan base is going at it during this time where Baylor fans are acting like it's outrageous that Scott Drew would even consider the University of Louisville. They're like, we've won a national championship and, we're doing this and you guys are this. And we're like, dude, you're Baylor. Shut up. Stop. And I feel like there's still a little bit, we kind of were like, when things get right between our two programs, like you guys at your current trajectory, and then us, if we get back to where we're supposed to be, we're going to stuff you in a washing machine and hit spin. And now we get the opportunity to do that. It's not on their home floor, but it's in their home state. We get to go down to Texas on Valentine's Day, see the guy who said thanks but no thanks to us, take on the fan base that said, we are everything that you guys used to be, and hopefully put them in a blender. I love this. Would I prefer if this game were being played on a campus site? Sure. But this is the world that we're living in 2025. We're now jumping into this world of a bunch of non-conference neutral court games. It also is good for both teams' net rankings. Now Baylor, if they have a down season, we get a chance to play. All they have to do is be top 50 as opposed to being top 30 if we play them at home. So that's good for both teams, for both sides. But this non-conference schedule overall, Roman, is absurd in all the best possible ways. Baylor, though, just keeping it strictly on Baylor. Your thoughts on playing them in kind of the middle of conference play, like it's like a tune-up for the end of conference season and the start of March.
I think this is great. Basically, especially if you just take where we were at last year at that time and how I felt like we knew we could play, what we knew we were capable of by that time of the year. I like knowing there's opponents on the schedule you're looking forward to that are equal, high-level talent, especially non-conference quad one level opponents, and you know that what your team's capable of. It's kind of scary when you've got a bunch of crazy opponents that you're looking at on your schedule and you don't know what your team's capable of. Like, we were excited about Tennessee, but we were still the uncertainty can be a fear, you know?
Sure.
And I like knowing that we're going to have seen a lot of different phases of this team before that kind of game. Now, I don't think this is the best non-conference opponent, but it's still going to be a big game. It's going to be an important game. It might be a game at that point in the year that might have crazy connotations for us. So I think it's great to have one later in the year, too.
Do you feel...
Just in case you don't perform how you imagine you can at the beginning of the year, especially. I
mean, I feel like, I don't know if you agree or if the text line's going to agree, I feel like this game being scheduled where it is a direct result of what we went through last year. I feel like, you know, everyone thinks the ACC is going to be better this year. How could it be worse? But I feel like this is a safety net put in place by Pat Kelsey and company to say, let's just say for the sake of saying, we end up in almost the exact same situation. Like, you know, we go through the non-conference, and we do okay. We win some games, we lose some games. But the ACC as a whole just sucks out loud, again, in the non-conference. Duke's good, Carolina's okay, maybe one or two other teams are flirting with the NCAA tournament. But we get into the situation where in January and February, every game besides the Duke game is against a team that's like just okay or bad. And there's no, you know, last year, every game we played from mid-January through early March, we had way more to lose than to gain until we got to the ACC tournament.
Just hoping other teams can stack some wins together.
Yeah, I mean, or just hoping that we don't lose and that other teams that are like on that same seed line, they start falling. And I think we realize now with, you know, ending up getting an 8 seed just how dire it was. We lose a couple more games than we did. We're out of the NCAA tournament despite being like 16-4 in the ACC. Like, you know, if we had lost a couple of those close games that we played to, I can't even remember, you know, not Clemson, not Duke, but anybody else, we're probably out of the NCAA tournament last season. And I feel like this is just kind of it's Pat Kelsey and company being like, we don't think that's going to happen again. We think the ACC should get back to having, you know, 6 teams in the tournament this year. The top should be better. We're going to have multiple teams as top 4 seeds. But on the off chance that it doesn't, we've got this game in the middle of February against a team that we feel pretty confident is going to be safely in the NCAA tournament field, and we're playing them on a neutral court. It'll get national attention. We won't get lost in the shuffle. I mean, people were like reminding folks, like, hey, you know, Duke is, everyone's talking about Duke dominating the ACC. They're 1 game ahead of Louisville in the conference standings. Like, you know, Louisville's got 2 losses, and we're heading into the month of March. That won't be an issue when you have this game that I think, you know, will generate a lot of national attention. So I feel like this was strategically done.
I think so, too.
And I like it.
I do, too. I think it's smart.
I also just like a little bit of the change of pace, you know? Just getting, you get so used to the rhythm of, you know, Wednesday game on the road, Saturday game on the road against a conference team, and then the next week, Wednesday game at home, Saturday game at home, conference opponent. And you're kind of looking like this is just a nice little way to break up the monotony of the January, February, nothing but conference play. And it's also like a little taste of the NCAA tournament before it comes, like a fresh face from a different conference right there, and less than a month before the tournament tips off. I'm good with it. I've got some other thoughts on the scheduling here. We'll talk about the schedule overall. We'll talk about one element of this particular move that I think is very interesting, but we have to take a break. We'll start the 3 o'clock hour off with that. Keep it locked right here. This is the Mike Rutherford Show. We are presented by United Mechanical, and we're live here on 1450 AM, 96.1 FM, Big X Sports Radio. how you'll know it's Friday.
We'll be at Shack in the Back.
We're going to be at Shack in the Back tomorrow out there in Fairdale. 10706 West Manslick Road is the location. We'll be there from 2:30 to 5:30. I believe that the KRC boys will also be out there. And if you make it out to Shack in the Back tomorrow, they got a fantastic deal going. Their pulled chicken or pork meal, which comes with 2 sides, just $10. $10. You can't find that anywhere else. You go anywhere else tomorrow and try to get a pulled pork meal with a couple of sides, it's going to cost you $20. Guarantee it wherever you go. Shack in the Back, they got you covered tomorrow. Make it out there tomorrow. Spend some time with us. I'm enticed by this $10 deal, but I feel like we've got to get the turkey ribs after how much we've heard about this. I'm going turkey ribs tomorrow. And if I don't like them, I'm not calling out Shack in the Back. I'm calling out every damn person on the text line who has been saying, like, you've got to do the turkey ribs. You've got to do the turkey ribs. If you don't, you're an idiot. That's exactly what they said, verbatim. Call us idiots if we don't get the turkey ribs. So I'm making that play. I've never had turkey ribs. I love beef ribs. I love pork ribs. I'm going to give it a go. But I'm excited to be out there tomorrow at Shack in the Back. Join us. It's going to be a fun time. We'll have some good time, eat some good food, talk some good talk. It's going to be a blast. But it is Thursday, and so we want to hear from you on the Game Day Men's Health text line. It's the only way for us to have direct contact with you guys today, unless you want to drop by the studio, which you're not really welcome to do so. We have security matters. Debbie will take you down, get you in a headlock out there. But you can text us on the Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. We'll get to you guys momentarily. We were talking there before the break about this new non-conference scheduled game against Baylor, which is going to go down Valentine's Day, February 14th, in Fort Worth, Texas, against the Bears. We now have a pretty good sense of what we have 10 games, I believe, locked in for this non-conference schedule. We're allowed to schedule 13 this year with the ACC going down to an 18-game conference schedule. So just as a refresher course, the big games on the schedule right now: Kentucky at home, at Arkansas in the ACC SEC Challenge, versus Indiana in Indianapolis, the neutral court game, Memphis State at home, at Tennessee, versus Cincinnati, technically a neutral court game despite being played at Heritage Bank Center in downtown Cincy, and now versus Baylor, again, technically a neutral court game despite being played in the state of Texas in Fort Worth. Besides that, we know we're going to play Ohio at home. We're going to play NJIT and Eastern Michigan at home as part of the multi-team event that we have with Cincinnati. So that is, unless my math is wrong, that's a total of 10 games. We've got 3 games left to schedule. I assume at this point that those are all going to be bye games. I feel like the heavy lifting on this non-conference schedule is done at this point. Agree or disagree, Roman? Do you think we still maybe have a trick in the bag?
I bet he'll add one more, Mike.
You think so?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I'm not saying I expected it at all, and I think we have plenty. But at this rate, I mean, he seems like he's ensuring we have everything we need.
I mean, we're guaranteed at this point. Those 7 games. Not all of those 7 teams are obviously guaranteed to make the NCAA tournament or anything like that. But those are 7 games against power teams, like projected by a lot of people, NCAA tournament teams. That's more than half of your non-conference schedule. I would be willing to bet that we're one of, 4 or 5 power conference teams that's going to have a non-conference schedule where more than half of their games are going to be against fellow power teams. It just doesn't typically work that way. Most teams are going to play 3 or 4 big-time games, and then they're going to play their other 9 game against, bye teams, mid-major, low-major teams. This is a very, very aggressive schedule from Pat Kelsey, and it's loaded with names that mean something to the fan base, which I think is very, very cool. I mean, if you want to throw Baylor into that category just because of the history we have there, I mean, this has to be a little bit personal for Pat Kelsey too, right? I phrased that wrong.
Yeah.
You think, this has to probably mean something to Pat Kelsey.
Definitely. And he knows what means something to the fans. He's clearly done his research.
I mean, one of the first things that he says at his introductory press conference is the admission that he knows he was Louisville's 3rd choice, at best. And I think everybody knows who Louisville's first choice was. So if you're Pat Kelsey, yeah, there's a little bit of a chip on your shoulder going into this. I think he's already kind of shown the fan base, like, I should have been higher up on your list. If you were disappointed when you heard that I was going to be the guy, I'm going to show you that that was silly. But now you get a chance to go out there and actually do it on the court against a guy who I think was the first choice for a good reason. He's won a national title. He reinvented Baylor basketball, essentially. So there's, there are feelings there that make this game attractive, not just for the sheer reason that it's Baylor and they're probably going to be a good team. Kentucky, the feelings between the two fan bases there speak for themselves. Same with Indiana, same with Memphis, same with Cincinnati. At Arkansas, the Calipari-Kenny Payne factor makes that more than just a game at Arkansas against a good team. Tennessee, we've had a nice little back and forth with them over the past couple of decades, and they came to our building and kicked our ass last year. So you've got that going for you as well. So all 7 of these games, they're not just games against big-time teams. They're games against big-time teams that mean something extra for the fan base, and I love that. I mean, because if one of these teams is terrible at the beginning of the year, it's still going to be a big deal. Like, if Baylor underachieves dramatically this season, we're still going to want to go down there and kick their ass because of, the back and forth with the fan base and Scott Drew telling us, no, Cincinnati, you don't care what their record is. You want to beat them. Same with Memphis. Same with Tennessee. Same with all these teams. And I think that's awesome. Like, you grab the fan base in 2 different ways. And we haven't had a non-conference schedule like this since the days of Denny Crum, when he was scheduling that aggressively because we were playing in Conference USA or the Metro and all. We had to schedule it that way. And I'm not laying fault at the feet of Rick Pitino or Pat Kelsey last year or Chris Mack. They scheduled the way that everybody would schedule when you're playing in the Big East at the height of its powers or the ACC a couple of years ago before it was struggling a little bit. Like, that's the way that everybody schedules who's in those conferences. But now, I mean, this is beyond aggressive, and I think it's awesome. We still got 3 spots left. I'm curious to see what we do with those. I'm assuming they're going to be bye games just because we've already got 7 games against power teams. But if there is another power conference team that's coming up on the non-conference schedule, I hope it's a home game, because that's the only thing it's the only gripe that I think that we can have as fans about this non-con schedule is you've got 7 big-time games, and 2 of them are going to be at home. 2 of them are going to be on the road. 3 of them are going to be at neutral court sites. And that kind of stinks for season ticket holders. It stinks for people who want to see electric Yum Center crowds. I still think when all is said and done, like, season ticket holders are going to get their money's worth. The ACC should be better. I know you look at it right now and you're like, well, NC State or whatever. Like, that could be a really good NC State team. Maybe Virginia's way better than we think they're going to be. You don't get North Carolina at home this year, unfortunately. But you're guaranteed to get Duke at the Yum Center. You're guaranteed to get Kentucky at the Yum Center. And you're guaranteed to get Memphis State at the Yum Center. That's a pretty good trio to kick things off. And then you've got the rest of the non-conference schedule. And look, what we found out over the years is it doesn't really matter who you play. If we're as good as we think we can be, you're going to a game featuring a 3rd-ranked Louisville basketball team playing whoever in the middle of December or whatever. Like, if the team is top 5, if they're top 10, and every single game, every single dribble is mattering the way that it used to, that building is going to be packed, and people are going to go crazy for New Jersey Institute of Technology. Doesn't matter. So I love this schedule, Roman.
I do too.
Any thoughts that you have with Baylor or anything else in particular before we move on?
The point you just made there about, I mean, I wish this could have even been a home game, but I'm glad it's a neutral court game rather than a full-on away game. So if you can get another home game in of a projected top, like somewhere in that 20 to 30 range, I wouldn't be mad at that either, Mike.
Now
especially if it can be later in the year like this.
Totally agree. Now I've got.
Don't we have 2? We can like get couple 2 extras
starting the season after this.
Oh, okay.
And so this is where we're going to go with the conversation now. Most of you probably know where this is going to go. This has been a constant theme since even before I was on the radio. I feel like I've been in a minority. I feel like the tide is changing on this a little bit, though. So, we scheduled a mid-February non-conference game against Baylor. And we're going to have more flexibility to do that moving forward with the news that came up yesterday about the powers that be in the NCAA expanding college basketball's regular season from 30 maximum games to 32 maximum games. That should afford for more non-conference scheduling flexibility in January and February. If we can schedule Baylor on February 14th, we can schedule Kentucky on February 14th. This has always been the place in the calendar year for basketball where I've said the game makes the most sense. You don't want it right there at the end of March because there's so much distraction that comes with that game. There's just so much high. The teams both are going to. You can say, well, we don't want to get too high or too low. Both teams are going to get very high or very low, regardless of when that game is played. But we've talked for years about how this game doesn't get the same type of hype and same type of national spotlight as, say, Duke or North Carolina, which gets the full circle treatment from ESPN every single year. And you can say, well, it's because ESPN, so many people went to Duke or UNC, and that could be part of it. But a big part of it as well is where those games that Duke and UNC play are on the sports calendar year. They always strategically, or almost always strategically, schedule that first Duke-UNC game for that first Saturday after the Super Bowl. It's sort of, that's the portion of the calendar year where the American sports fans that have been, they'll pay attention to other stuff, but they are locked into football until football's over. And then when football's over, the next big thing is college basketball and the NCAA tournament. So that's when they kind of start paying attention. They're like, who's good? Tell me what's up. And so ESPN capitalizes on that and says, hey, Duke and UNC are playing Saturday. You know about that. Watch the game. It would also be a perfect time for the most contentious, the most heated, the most complex rivalry in the sport to play its one annual game. We get pushed on the back burner every year when we play that game in late December. It's the worst possible time to have national attention because you're doing so right in the middle of the NFL playoff push and right in the middle of bowl season. And bowl games, doesn't matter what bowl game it is, doesn't matter how bad the teams are playing in it, they're always going to take precedence in late December over a regular season college basketball game, even if it's number one versus number two, even if it's two teams that literally want to kill each other, they're always going to defer to the bowl game. And so there have been years where we've had like a top 5 Kentucky team and a top 10 Louisville team playing on ESPN2, noon on New Year's Eve, which is a Thursday. And that sucks. If you want the game to get the national treatment that you think it deserves, play it in mid-February. See what happens. People will watch. People will pay more attention. People will dive into the storylines. You will get the oomph, the bump that you feel like that game deserves. And I hope that the powers that be on both sides look at this as a possibility to make that happen. If they're willing to try the game out in the second week of the season, which is what's going to happen this year, you would assume that they'd be willing to try it out in the third month of the season. Maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe they say, we like late December better. But I feel like this is the perfect time. Right after the Super Bowl, people are like, okay, tell me who's good. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what players I need to know. Tell me what I need to do to get ready for my filling out of a bracket in a month. Give them Louisville, Kentucky that weekend. Make it happen. Am I crazy, Roman?
I don't think so. I don't know why they didn't try that first, Mike. I don't see how you don't have that logic there when you're already willing to move it. But I think if you're willing to move it to the second week, you should definitely be willing to try the last mid-February end of the schedule as well. So I think that there's more benefits to the end than the beginning, especially with where UK U of L football games consistently placed.
Mm-hmm.
You get that right there at the end of November. 2.5 months later, you'll get this game. So you get more national coverage. I don't see why.
Yeah.
It should have always been done.
All the benefits that we were just talking about that come with playing the Baylor game here, about getting that jolt of like a big-time non-conference blessing that breaks up the monotony of conference scheduling. If the ACC is down, you still get that. And then you get the added bonus of it being your biggest rivalry game. It also eliminates, and I guess it's a good fodder for argument or ammo for an argument if you're on the losing side. But how many years have we talked about, and it's usually us doing it if we're being honest, if we just played that game later in the year. You got us before this guy got good, or you got us while this guy was still banged up. If we played, Kentucky did it back in the day when we were actually holding our own in the rivalry. I'll never forget 2003, my senior year of high school, when we blasted them by 18. And then Kentucky promptly goes on this 18-19 game winning streak with Keith Bogans and company, and we hit a little bit of a bump in the road late in the year. Ellis Miles tears his ACL, and they're all like, if we played again, it'd be a different story. You can eliminate that part of the conversation. And it would just, this year, don't get me wrong, I'm excited about the game wherever it's going to be played. But it feels super weird having the basketball game played 2.5 weeks before the football game. It just does. Like when I watch Iowa State, they always play the first or second week of the regular season in college basketball. And it feels strange. I've always watched it and been like, I can't imagine being this early in the season and having to get up for your biggest rival. Kind of Cincinnati Xavier, they typically play the first week of December. It's always early as well. It's like we're going to be in that position this year. I would love to have it, far enough away from the NCAA tournament to where if there is a little bit getting too high or too low after the game, it doesn't crush your tournament run and feeling like you're having the ability to be your best self going into March Madness, but deep enough in the season where you feel like we're close to being a finished product. Let's take our best. Let's take your best. Let's see who's the better team. Let's go at it. I think it'd be fantastic. And I feel like, and maybe it's a direct result of people reacting negatively to the game being pushed to the beginning of the season, I feel like me making that statement today, I put it out on social media, is getting more traction than it ever has before. Because I've done this, I feel like, every single summer since I've been on the radio, where I've made this argument, I've put out a poll, I've asked the fans, hey, if you could put the game anywhere on the calendar, where would you put it? And overwhelmingly, the fans every single year respond with, we like it at the end of December. It's where it's been. We're used to it. We don't want to rock that boat. We don't really give a bleep if the rest of the country pays attention to it. This is our rivalry. We like it there. And maybe now that pendulum is swinging a little bit towards playing the game later in the season. We'll find out. I would like to at least give it a try. And look, if both sides come and they agree that, like, this is terrible, this is not cool, this sucks, you can move it back to December. You can scheduling. We're big boys. We can work this out. We can figure this out. We'll make it happen. Roman, the other big topic of conversation that we haven't really we talked briefly about the NBA draft and kind of it being 2 days, but we have not talked specifically about what went down last night. No surprises at the top of the draft.
Nope.
It went about the way that we thought it was going to. No crazy trades, no crazy whatever. Things got a little bit loopy in the middle of the first round, though. Give me your biggest takeaway from last night's first round.
Well, there is one takeaway from the lottery.
Okay.
Ace Bailey didn't work out with the Jazz. He refused to. He didn't work out with any of the top 4 teams, or top 5 teams. And Danny Ainge's son, I'm forgetting his name already, Andrew Ainge, or the new Ainge that's in charge for these decisions down in Utah. They didn't care. They drafted him anyway. Is that going to be something of note going forward? You're drafting a player who already doesn't want to be there, like he doesn't want to be there before you even got a hold of him. That'll be a little bit interesting going forward. Con Knippel going at 4. I mean, he's highly touted, but at the same time, I just think that's
you hate it. You hate it. Just say it. You hate it.
There's a lot of talent below him. I feel like, Mike. There's a lot of athleticism below him. I feel like I'm not going to say there's a lot of tough shot making ability below him because he is one of the best tough shot makers in the draft, but I just think that what you get from Trey Johnson, Jeremiah Fears, Igor Denman, and then there's Igor Denman. There's a lot of people really high on him, and some people saying he shouldn't be in the lottery. So
I feel like he's the prospect that I saw the most conflicting opinions on.
Yeah, a lot of people saying he should be top 5. Not a lot. People saying he should be top 5. People saying he's definitely a lottery pick. And then a good amount of people saying like the shooting isn't good enough. He doesn't need to go this high. So interesting to see what happens with him there. Brooklyn, first team ever in NBA history getting 5 first-round picks in the same draft. Like, first-round picks in one draft is just never happened before. We've never seen a team pick 5 times in the first round. That's kind of crazy. I think they did pretty well. Just an interesting couple of picks. I mean, Young Hansen, that was a projected second-round pick. Portland trades down and picks him up.
I'm telling you, that guy sucks.
I don't really get trading down there to get him, but we'll see what turns out. How that turns out.
Write it down. He sucks. I texted you last night when this happened.
Walt Clayton picking up or Utah. I'm sorry, Utah Jazz also picking up Walter Clayton. Did that trade towards the end of the 18th pick? I thought that was kind of big, getting two really big offensive talents for their class in one draft is cool. Kasparos dropping all the way down to the Heat was kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. I think they quite literally got the best player they could get at that point in the draft. Drake Powell dropped a little bit lower than I thought he would, Mike.
Was he 22?
22, yeah. A lot of people really high on Will Riley. That was surprising to me, I thought. I didn't think Will Riley would go that high, but
same way. Let me ask you one story in particular that kind of came out from last night. So the kid from Germany, Noah Songway, right? Is that his name?
No, yeah, Noah Esingay.
Yeah, the kid from Germany.
No, that's
he's from France, but he's playing in Germany.
That's right.
So he went to the Bulls. The kid who went to the Bulls. Did you see the story? He plays in that same league that Sananda Fruit plays in, and his team was in the the winner take all championship game of the finals, and he skipped it to go to the NBA draft. Now his teammates put out a statement saying we support him. It's a once in a lifetime experience. This is what he's been working towards his entire life. We're not mad about this at all. I kind of give it a side eye.
I thought that was a bit interesting, Mike.
I think it's. I mean, you've
got to think about it like this too. This is his goal. This is his goal. If you would have told Cooper Flagg, there's a better chance if you don't play in this last game here if you want to ensure you're the number 1 overall pick. I mean,
you think Cooper Flagg skips
that's a bad example.
The NCAA tournament championship game?
I think he specifically is a bad example.
Let's say anybody. Ace Bailey probably skips the national championship game if he's playing for Rutgers to go to the draft. But he spent years working to get. I get it, that his main goal has been making the NBA draft, but he spent at least the past year working towards the goal also of getting this German team to the championship and winning a title, winning a Brazilian Butt League championship. And in the most important game of that season, he's like, I'm out. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it's one of those things that we all, but I heard that and I was like, that seems a little, I would want a guy who would want to play in that game. And then just say, it'd be cool to be there in America. It'd be cool to shake Adam Silver's hand, wear that ill-fitting hat.
Yeah, because you're getting drafted anyway.
But you're getting, it's not like you don't get the money or you don't get to play if you're not there in person. Everything's the same besides getting that experience. I don't know. I feel like I would have wanted somebody who would have played.
Was he the youngest kid in the draft, right?
Is he that young?
Yeah, he's 18, December 18.
I also thought, and I thought this guy was going to be good for Duke this coming season, but Cedric Coward going at 11 seems crazy to me. People are they go into his, the strengths and the weaknesses, and they're well, he's athletic, he does this, he does that. He doesn't really shoot, and he's got a work ethic problem. That sounds like two traits that I'm not using on a guy in the early in the first round. But we'll see how it goes with Portland. He ended up getting traded to Memphis, I think.
Yep.
And then I think Common
Malawak is going to be a good defender. It seems like a 21-year-old project.
Exactly. I mean, fine, take him into the first round, early second round. I also thought Common Malawak looked like he was asleep when he got drafted, which was very strange. Did you see that? They're patting him on the shoulder.
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I didn't see a highlight of it.
I think he was asleep. And then Colin Murray Boyles, the kid from South Carolina. Have you seen the clip of him getting drafted by the Raptors?
Yeah, I've seen that clip. Where I've seen him already come out and say that he was saying that just because of his lifelong goal. He couldn't believe that moment finally came to fruition for him or whatever. I know that that Toronto fans were saying that. It didn't come off to me as as exasperated, oh man, F. It came off to me as this is the one place that I didn't want to go, and now I've got to go to Toronto and live and deal with Canadian taxes. It came off to me as he didn't want to play for the Raptors. But of course he's going to spin it that way. We'll see how that goes. Jeremiah Fears, who we saw firsthand last year at Oklahoma, get drafted in the top 10, went to the Pelicans. Seen some crazy things said about him and how the what? Upside.
Oh yeah, I think he could be really good. I really do.
We'll see. Decision making. I mean, I get he's young. He's really young. He's got a lot of room to grow.
Loves that push off.
Great ball handler with aside for a couple of moments where he cheats when he pushes off.
He does.
I get he's the best ball handler in the draft or whatever.
Injures guys, whatever. Nolan Traore, a guy that was rumored to come to Louisville for a variety of different times over the past couple of years. He goes 19th overall. I think, and I'm notoriously bad at projecting these types of things, but just like looking at it from what I know, I feel like the Spurs are the best draft. I think Dylan Harper's going to be fantastic in the NBA, and I really think that Carter Bryant's going to be terrific as well, a guy who at one point in time looked like he might come play for Kenny Payne, which is the only thing that I think you can say negative about him. I think he's going to be a really good role player in the NBA for a long, long time. So I love what they did there. I don't think Derek Queen's going to be good in the NBA.
I don't think he's going to be
as
good as some people think he's going to be.
The jokes about him and Zion have been out there. That's something. I also think Danny Wolf, I know his brother became kind of a meme for his crying face. I think Danny Wolf can be good in the NBA. I think he was a steal at the back end of that first round. But as a college basketball guy, and the thing that I wrote about today, which I do think is fascinating, is how do you feel today if you are and I know they're a rare breed, if you're a Rutgers Scarlet Knight diehard basketball fan? Are you happy? You can't be happy, right? Like, on one hand, you're like, this is the biggest night for the brand ever. On the other, if anybody Twitter searched the phrase Rutgers last night, there were two things. It was like, 2 Rutgers players taking the top 5. Isn't that incredible? And then it was immediately followed up with some variation of, how the hell did they not even come close to making the NCAA tournament last year? And so I wrote about this today for SB Nation. You can go to SBNation.com and check it out there. And I went back and I was looking at, Steve Pikiell had done a good job at Rutgers. In 2021, he led them to a win in the tournament for the first time since 1983. They'd gone 4 decades basically without winning a game in the big dance. He gets them in the tournament in back-to-back years. They damn near win a game. The next year, they lost in double overtime to Notre Dame. Then they have a little bit of a down season. They go 15-17, and he gambles. He says, we're going all in on these 5-star kids that are going to be like NBA superstars and banking on them to carry us and having a big-time season, and doesn't really surround them with much talent at all. And the season goes poorly. They lose to Kennesaw State early. They lose to Princeton early, and they only win 8 Big Ten games. They have a losing record. They're 1 and done in the Big Ten tournament. And I went back and I looked at some of the other coaches that have done similar things. Successful coaches that said, had a little bit of adversity, and they were like, I'm going all in on this bona fide NBA superstar. And it never goes well, either in the immediate term or the future. I looked at, remember Ben Howland was at UCLA, had a great run of success there. Went to 3 straight Final Fours, for God's sake. 06, 07, 08. Played in the national title game in 06. Brought in big-time talent. But then had a couple of lean years, had a couple of character issues, and so he was like, all right, I'm going all in on the one and done. I'm going to try to be John Calipari and mimic what he's doing at Kentucky right now. He goes out there, he gets Shabazz Muhammad, he gets the Ware twins, gets a couple of other guys. And they're not very good. They limp into the NCAA tournament. They lose in the first round. He gets fired because he's not winning national titles there. You look at, maybe most famously, LSU. In 2015-16, they get Ben Simmons, they get Antonio Blakeney. Antonio Blakeney says, we're going to win the national title this year. They're preseason top 10. Everyone's saying this could be a Final Four team, and it's a catastrophe. They lose by 50 in the SEC tournament. They don't make the NCAA tournament. They turn down a bid for the NIT. Johnny Jones gets 1 more year. He wins 10 games the next season. He's fired. You look at Lorenzo Romar, had been at Washington for 15 years. Had loads of success, but had fallen on some hard times. So he's like, you know what? I'm going all in. 5-star Markelle Fultz. We're bringing him in. They win 9 games. Fultz is the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. Doesn't matter. Lorenzo Romar, fired. Quanzo Martin brings in that team with Bird and Jalen Clark, like all those guys. They lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament. He bolts for Tennessee the year after. I'm not saying that Steve Pikiell needs to be preparing his stuff for his next job, but at some point you have to look around and look at all these results and ask the question, was it really worth it? Did you really, his team's going to suck this year. They had these two guys. They didn't capitalize on it at all. He's got a weak transfer portal class. He lost 4 of his 5 starters from a 15-win team last year. Everyone's going to project them to be somewhere between 14th and 18th in the Big Ten. Nobody thinks they're going to go to the NCAA tournament. And if they miss the NCAA tournament this year, they're probably going to fire him. Is it really worth it to go all in on a pair of guys that are going to be future NBA draft picks if it doesn't benefit your program in the grand scheme of things? Rutgers had had a grand total of 4 first-round draft picks before last night. They'd never had a player taken in the top 5. They hadn't had multiple players taken in the same draft since 1983. They hadn't had multiple players taken in the first round ever. Congrats, they did it. Are you really in that much of a better spot than you were 12 months ago? Doesn't seem like it. It'd be a weird feeling today if you were a Rutgers basketball fan. But then again, there aren't many Rutgers basketball fans. So, anyways, we got to go to break. When we come back, Game Day Men's Health text line. You guys have been patiently waiting. Loaded up 502-414-1450. We'll get to you after the break. Keep it locked right here as we pause for the cause on 1450, 96.1, Big X Sports Radio.
This world that we're living in may seem chaotic at times. It's good to
This is Donnell Jones.
I only know Donnell Jones from You Know What's Up
Okay.
with Lisa Left Eye Lopez. It's been used in a commercial a lot. I feel like the last few months. Me and my homies be rolling. Very first day of summer, all chromed out in a Hummer Bay. You know that song?
I've heard it.
What up? What up? What up? What up? I don't know that song though. But this is a pro Donnell Jones radio show, Roman.
We support Donnell.
We support Donnell Jones and the legacy of Lisa Left Eye Lopez as well.
Probably look him up before we start saying that. You know how that.
Well,
That's time frame, Mike. You know,
That's a very fair point.
we were doing stuff back then that a little bit, more normal back.
5 minutes from now, we have to issue a retraction. We're very sorry that we we support. Let the record show. 1450, the Big X does not endorse the activities of Don. As of right now, though, we are a pro Donnell Jones show and a pro Donnell Jones radio station. We're also very pro Gameday Men's Health, which sponsors our text line. Hit us up at 502-414-1450. Gameday Men's Health, they're redefining men's wellness. No shortcuts, just results. Testosterone, peptides, weight loss, and sexual performance therapy. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com, defining a new era in men's health. Oh! We've got breaking news.
We've got a commitment, Mike. Hey! UL football from Jack Sorge himself. Grateful to announce my commitment to the University of Louisville. Thank you to my parents, coaches, and family for all the support. Go Cards. Jack Sorge, quarterback from... I
Now this has
lost the name here.
He is from Indiana. I'm just I know nothing about this. He's from Indiana. His name's Jack Sorge. He's a quarterback. Is this the son of Jim Sorge, the former Indianapolis Colts quarterback? I kind of feel like it. He's about my age, a little bit older. Played at Wisconsin.
Surely.
I'm looking this up. I bet this is his son. If it's not, I'm just going to claim it. Yep. Jackson, a sophomore. Yeah, this is
Class of 2027.
We're getting the son of Jim Sorge. All right. Shout out to Jack Sorge. They have a family Twitter account. I don't like that. At Sorge fam. Come on. Let the kid have his own account.
He has his own.
Oh, he does now. They originally had the
Jack Sorge.
Jim and Lana Sorge. Jimmy, Jack, and how do we feel about the? They have 3 sons: Jimmy, Jack, and Jace.
It usually means they're all going to be good.
It's a tough look for the mom because she's like, okay, well, why can't we name them all with the L's? Why does Dad get to name all the kids? If they were girls, would they all be L's?
Yes.
Okay. I like this. I mean, this is crazy. I told you when it comes to Jeff Brahman quarterbacks, I don't care if it's a 5'7" kid from Alaska with no stars. I trust that he's got a guy. We now have, we've got our quarterback for the upcoming 26 class. Briggs Cherry is lighting it up this summer. And it looks like we've already got our guy for the 27 class. Jack Sorge, if you're looking at I'm trying to find his profile. He plays baseball, superstar baseball player. They don't rank the 27 class yet. We're the only offer that he's got from a power conference. We offered him just earlier this month after he attended one of our camps on June 5th. And he commits just 3 weeks later. 6'4", 200 pounds. He is rising. This will be his junior season of high school football. That's crazy.
This is good stuff here, Mike.
Good stuff. I never know. I'm stating the obvious here. You can never get too excited about a commitment from a 16-year-old in any sport because stuff can happen. It's a long way away from commitment day to signing day, but still pretty cool. Sorge was one of 5 or 6, according to Jody Demling, class of 2027 quarterbacks who showed up at Louisville's camp back in early June. He is the son of former Indianapolis Colts backup quarterback Jim Sorge, was the lone quarterback in that class to land an offer from U of L. He said, "The coaches were complimentary of my footwork, how I threw the football, and my arm strength. They said they see potential in me to grow at quarterback, and that's why they decided to extend me an offer. I'm really excited to receive the offer and about the possibility of playing football at Louisville. Very strong arm, good touch on the deep ball. Said, yeah, I had a great camp. I thought it went well. I enjoyed being out there and throwing alongside the talented quarterbacks that were there. The hard part is taking full advantage of the reps that you get. There are obviously throws that I would like to have back, but overall I thought I performed pretty well. The best part of camp is the instruction you get from the coaches, taking that instruction, keeping it, and pushing to get better. This past season as a sophomore quarterback, he completed 119 out of 201 passes for 1,729 yards, 19 touchdown passes against just 4 interceptions. He played in several varsity games as a freshman back in 2023 and completed 4 of 6 passes for 40 yards. His dad was a quarterback at Wisconsin, 6th-round draft pick by the Colts, was Peyton Manning's backup for 3 seasons. We like this, don't we?
We do.
I enjoy the Sorky family, and now I enjoy Jack Sorky. I don't like the joint family Twitter account, but let's go. Good breaking news update there. I don't even remember what we were talking about before that. Game Day Men's Health text line. Let's get. Oh, what I was going to say. We are aware of all the automated responses that you are getting on the Game Day Men's Health text line. Apparently, it's supposed to happen just after your first text, a couple days a week. You're going to have to live with it for a while. We can't do anything about it.
Looking to see if we can get into like a once-a-day thing.
That's how it's supposed to be. I think like once a week. There's going to be like one day where you text in and you get the automated response. I am working to get it to a point where it's like, hey, check out Game Day Men's Health, blah, 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 and not like, hey, I heard your boner doesn't work. Like, that's what we're working for. I think that's what we're going to try to make happen. But for now, live with it. You're going to be fine. It's going to be okay. 502-414-1450. Texter says, what's the deal with the rumor of Sananda Frew having to leave the U.S. because he doesn't have his student visa? Roman, have you heard this?
I have not heard this.
I've heard the I mean, all I can say is I've heard the rumor. I've got no idea whatsoever if there's any truth to it. I mean, he's been here for 8 days. He got here on June 18th. I know that they had, like, I didn't see any highlights of him or clips of him at the camp. Not saying that he wasn't there. I'm just saying we saw Vangelis Zougaras there. I did not see Frew. All I can say, I've heard the rumor. I've not heard it from, like, a trusted source or a source that I would give it any credence to. Not saying it's not true, not saying it is true. Just not saying that I can say anything besides, yeah, I've heard it. I've got no more insight than you guys do. If it does happen, I will be very upset. Very upset. Texter says, I have to imagine this non-con schedule means that the staff feels like we're going to be very, very good. Right. I mean, I think that's a safe assumption, wouldn't you, Roman?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, you don't schedule this way if you feel like you're going to be a middle-of-the-road team in the ACC. This strikes me as, I do think that it's at least partially a byproduct of what happened to us last year, where, like I said, every single game for 2 months, basically, we had more to lose than we had to gain. We were like, we got into a point where we played ourselves into the NCAA tournament, and then it just felt like you were fighting tooth and nail to hang on to your spot, as opposed to fighting tooth and nail to try to move up the seed line. And we want to avoid that being the case 2 years in a row. But I also feel like we wouldn't schedule quite this aggressively if Pat Kelsey didn't think the main objective. Like, I don't think he's scheduling this way to be like, hey, I want to make sure we make the NCAA tournament. I think he's scheduling this way to be like, hey, I want to make sure that we're as battle-tested as we can possibly be so that we can make a run towards a Final Four and maybe a national title. And also, this helps you be in a position where you can get the best seed possible.
Definitely. But you also wouldn't do it unless you believe you're good either. So
exactly. Let me ask you something right now. So we're going to be preseason, I think, top 15. If I had to guess, we'll probably be somewhere around like 10 to 12 when all's said and done.
I think we'll be 8th.
You think so?
Yeah.
We could be. We'll be somewhere in that general range where it's like we're projected by most people besides, Schminardi as like a 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed, somewhere around there. If I told you right now, I could guarantee you a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. Do you take it?
Yes.
It's tough. I feel like 3 seed, no doubt I take it. 5 seed, no doubt I turn it down. 4 seed, you're like,
I'll take it.
I mean, we've been to multiple Final Fours.
I'm not expecting to be a 1 or 2 seed kind of team this year.
I'm kind of not either, but I think we could be.
I think we could.
But it's not my expectation.
No, but based on my expectation, it's 3, 4, and if the ACC doesn't meet my expectation, I wouldn't be surprised at a 5.
4 seed, I think, guarantees that you're, because if you get a guaranteed 4 seed, you're eliminating the possibility that the injury bug bites you again, or like we just talked about, some weird off the court thing happens with Sananda Frew. You're a pretty good team, and you can win a national title as a 4 seed. It's happened before. You can go to a Final Four as a 4 seed. We've done it before. But I also think we have the potential to be like a 2 or a 3, and maybe an outside shot at a 1. I think I would probably take it though.
I would take it just because there's no certainty the ACC will be what we need it to be.
There's that too. Let's say, we're playing 7 tough non-conference games, and only 2 of them are at home. You could easily be a really good team and still go like 3 and 4 in those games, and then you're in a position where if the ACC is no better than it was last year, maybe Duke's not as good as we think they're going to be. They're not supposed to be as good as they were last year, and maybe they're more like a top 20 to 25 team as opposed to a top 5 to 10 team, and those 2 games against them aren't as consequential as you'd like them to be. There just aren't any guarantees with the ACC. I think the league is going to be better. I look at the rosters. I look at the coaches. NC State should be good. Virginia should be good. Miami's got the talent to be good. I've got no idea if Jay Lucas can coach. We should be good. Duke should be good. I think Carolina should be – they should be a little bit better than they were last year, but God knows what Hubert Davis is going to do. He's impossible to project at this point. And in the middle and the bottom of the conference, yeah, it could be just as bad as it was last year. I think SMU should be good. But there are no guarantees. If it's just as bad as it was a year ago and you don't perform absurdly well in the non-conference, you could have another sparkling ACC record and still be like a 7, 8, 9 seed. So I think I would sign up for the 4, but I definitely want more. Texas, hey, Mike. I can't believe the strength of this out-of-conference schedule. I would think that we have to go back to the 90s to see anything resembling this, but it's likely the toughest of all time. It seems like we're making a point to stick it to the selection committee's biggest gripe with our resume last season. Yeah, I think that may be part of it. I do think it's also like a safety net if the ACC stinks again. Let's go back. So I'm looking up just in the Ken Pom era, which goes back to 97 now. The 97 team that made the run to the Elite Eight and played North Carolina. Our non-conference schedule that year. And again, this is when we're playing in Conference USA. So Denny was very aggressive. We played Illinois and Colorado on neutral courts. They were both top 50 teams. LSU and Dayton, we also played them, but they weren't very good. We played Purdue on a neutral court. They were a top 50 team. We played at Arkansas. They were 56th on Ken Pom. We played Boston College. They were 40th on Ken Pom. We played Kentucky. They were number 1 on Ken Pom. We played Georgia Tech. They were 69th. We played Texas. They were 44th. And we played UCLA, and they were 15th. You look at the schedule, that year, the only non-conference games we played Montana State to open. That was a tournament game. We played Wright State at home. That was a bye game. We played Tennessee State, and that was it. Those were the only 3 teams we played that weren't power conference opponents or power programs. Mm-hmm. And that's the way that we had to schedule back in the day because you had a conference where it was DePaul was terrible, Houston was terrible, St. Louis wasn't good back then, Houston was terrible, South Florida was terrible, UNC Charlotte, Southern Miss. It wasn't the same as it was now. So, yeah, I think you probably have to go back. The next year, 98, we played Illinois on a neutral. They were 20th. Georgia Tech on a neutral. They were 35th. North Carolina on a neutral. They were 2nd. Purdue at home. They were 8th. Arkansas at home, they were 24th. Those are 5 of your first 6 games. We played those 5 teams in a row. And then we played Georgia Tech, who was 35th, Ole Miss, who was 17th, Kentucky, who was 3rd. A month later, we played St. John's, who was 37th. And then we played Syracuse, who was 38th. That's an outrageous non-conference schedule. But that's what Denny did. But he did it because he had to. He was like, even when like the Metro Conference was a good league. And Conference USA was not a terrible league, especially at the top. Cincinnati was one of the best teams in the country during those years. We were good. UNC Charlotte was good. Marquette got to be very good. The top of that league was talented. But it wasn't as deep as the Big East when we were there or the ACC even now.
Yeah.
And so Denny was like, if I want this program to compete for national titles, which is the goal, this is the way that I've got to schedule. And you look at all these non-conference schedules, even in the late 90s when we were kind of on the downturn, we scheduled extremely aggressively. And, yeah, I think you've got to go back to then to have something that compares to what we're going to deal with this upcoming season. And I love it. It's great for the fans. I just hope, the team is ready to go. Texas, kind of wild that Duquesne has as many number 1 overall picks as Indiana and more than Louisville. I love every single year of the draft, Roman. Duquesne, their official basketball account, will tweet out, like, we're still the most recent program to have back-to-back number 1 draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great fact to hold on to when you haven't done much over the past 60 years.
Yeah.
Back-to-back number 1 picks. Shout out to the Dukes. They made a Sweet 16 run a few years ago. Texas says, Lions fan John said, did you know the 10-millimeter socket is the most lost socket in the world? There's an ice cream shop in northern Kentucky that gives them out on Father's Day. Anyway, what a schedule. PK lives by the bone crusher mentality. He's never scared. You're damn right.
That's cool that they give them out.
Why is the 10-millimeter socket lost so much more than other sockets?
It's small, and it's the most used socket.
I've used a 13-millimeter a bunch for putting bikes together.
Yeah, 13's a common one for bicycle stuff. So's some 12s. Some bikes also 12. 10 millimeters on anything that has a bolt, it seems like.
Gets lost a lot.
Lost a lot.
Texted, if Pat Kelsey was our head coach for 2 seasons with the rosters that Kenny Payne had, would he have made the tournament in either of those years? And how many games would he have won over 2 years? Assume Pat Kelsey has the coaching skills that he does now, but face the same competition that Kenny did. I don't think Pat Kelsey could have made the tournament with that first team. I know Pat Kelsey would have won more than 4 games. The team in year 2, I stand by this, could have been an NCAA tournament team with the right coaching. I mean, they quit after like the first 2 games of the season. I mean, just the first year, all those guys transferred somewhere else, and they've all kind of sucked. Like, nobody ended up being very good after that. But that second-year roster, I mean, Sky Clark was a productive guard on a good UCLA team last year. He's going to be the starting point guard on a UCLA team that's going to be preseason top 15 this year. Trey White was a good player on a good team last year, and now he's going to go be a starter for Kansas, who's supposed to be, like always, good this season. You had a bunch of productive players on that second team, and there's no reason that group of talented guys should have gone 8-24. I think Pat Kelsey absolutely could have at least gotten them to the NCAA tournament. Agree, disagree?
I agree.
I want you to answer.
I think they should have. I think they could have.
I'm with you. Text, the difference between a queen size and a king size is a game changer. We'll never go back, and when I do sleep on a queen, I feel constrained. I already do. I'm ready for the king era. It's go time. Let's make it happen. I can't read. We don't have time to read any more texts. Right? Gotta get out of here?
Yeah.
Okay. 4 o'clock hour. We'll keep it going. Game Day Men's Health text line. We'll get back to you after the break. Hit us up, 502-414-1450. Weigh in with your thoughts about the basketball schedule, having Jim Sorge's son as a member of the football team, whatever you got. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, I've got a trivia time question for Roman. We've got to take a run at a Big X family member here. We've been left no other choice. We'll do it after the break. Keep it locked right here. Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, 1450-96.1, The Big X.
Craft Sporting Goods is Southern Indiana's team sports specialist and is your local
further. A horribly written song.
That's weird.
And then the hook brings it home, though. All my life, I prayed for someone like you. Are you familiar with Casey and JoJo, Rome?
Yeah, well, this song.
Casey and JoJo, I mean, there's also a great video of one of them. I can't remember if it's Casey or JoJo, just like blackout drunk on stage during a concert and then just passing out in the middle of the song and like the other one trying to like pull him up and keep singing. But this was, Casey and JoJo had a great run.
They did.
Great run. This one was definitely the highlight of the Casey and JoJo run. They had Don't Rush was a good song as well. You Bring Me Up. I think that was probably about it. But they had a good run there in the mid to late 90s. Shout out to Casey and JoJo. Are you ready for trivia time to kick off the 4 o'clock hour, Roman?
Always.
I've got a big one for you.
Let me have it.
This is a tough question, but I want to hear your guess. This is via worldpopulationreview.com.
This is my stuff here, Mike.
I don't know how they come up with this data. I don't know how many people they're polling, but they have tracked the average number of lifetime sexual partners in every country.
Wow.
So my question to you, what country in the world has the highest average number of sexual partners per person?
What country?
What country?
Mexico.
No.
Spain.
No.
United States.
No. You're not going to get it.
Africa. Oh,
Not a country.
Kenya.
No.
Give me the continent.
Europe. You're still not going to get it. I mean, okay, I say Europe. I don't know if this is going to give it away, but technically,
Netherlands.
Technically, this country is a transcontinental country.
I don't know. I'm not going to get it.
Turkey. Is that a shock?
Yeah.
Technically, Turkey, I believe, is part of both Europe and Asia. Turkey. The Turkish are getting down, Roman. Not only do they lead by a full 1.2 people. The average Turkish citizen has 14 and a half lifetime sexual partners. That is 1.2 more than number 2, which is Australia. 13.3 sexual partners, and then their neighbors, New Zealand, also banging a lot, 13.2. If I had to ask you to guess the average lifetime sexual partners of an American, what do you say?
9.
4.5.
Really?
Do you feel like more of a slut now? A little bit?
No.
4.5. We're not banging in the States. I blame it on the Zoomers. I blame it on the younger generation.
Yeah.
But I was surprised.
No. That's not. I guess it would be based on that, wouldn't it? Though.
It's based on everybody.
But it has to be like your parents' generation.
You think so?
Because they're married more. They're all married.
I guess maybe that's part of it. But all the data says the young kids aren't having sex the way that the past generations were.
They're also getting married later.
They definitely are getting married later. And I got married relatively late, 29, right before I turned 30.
Like, when did your mom and dad get married?
Well, they were both married before they married each other. They both had prior marriages. My dad got married. They both got married very young.
And okay, those original marriages.
Yeah, they were young. They were
probably could
early
have
20s.
Very many before then.
Yeah.
Obviously not going to have very many until you're not married with that person anymore.
That could be it. That could be it. But Turkey, 14 and a half.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. Kind of surprising. My guess was France. And then I asked Mary last night, and she guessed France as well, which kind of surprised me. We both were very wrong. The French not getting down as much as you think.
Where's Mexico and Netherlands on there?
Mexico averages 9 sexual partners per person. They're kind of in the middle of the pack there. What was your other guess?
Netherlands. Well, I said a couple before that.
Netherlands, they're like the one in the Scandinavian countries typically are. Iceland is number 4, 13 partners. Finland is number 6, 12.4. Norway right behind them at 12.1. Sweden, Switzerland are down there, 11.8, 11.1. I don't see the Netherlands. 7.0. Kind of down there a little bit. Spain, your other guess, 6.1.
They get married a lot there. That was a bad guess.
The lowest number of sexual partners, lifetime sexual partners, according to this list. And not every country was charted.
Japan.
No.
China.
And so China, second to last, 3.1. This country, most people in the world, India.
Wow.
Only having 3 sexual partners per person.
Don't they have the most homeless kids there, though?
What are you implying?
Nothing. Just surprising.
We have a weather alert going on. Is it cutting in?
Should probably to FM and AM, yes.
Okay. I can't imagine how many people were just glued to that conversation. Like, no, I've got to know what they were saying about India. I've got to figure it out. And then the weather just breaks it up. There you go. That was a good trivia time. I enjoyed that. The more you know.
North Korea can't be very high on there, right?
I don't know if North Korea is allowed to be in polls like this. I don't think that I don't think that World Population Review is out there tracking North Korea. I don't think they're allowed to talk about this sort of thing. Japan was 10.2. I was a little bit surprised that it was that high. Vietnam also not having much sex, but most of the African content is not charted. South Africa, for obvious reasons, was 12.5. 12.5. Game Day Men's Health text line is 502-414-1450. Before we get to that, I've got to go. We've got to talk about somebody that we work with.
Well, you keep saying this.
Yeah.
I can't imagine who this may be.
We like this guy. He's in here a lot of times when I come in. We're big fans. But Nick Roush, you hear him every day from 12 to 2 on KRC. But he tweeted out something yesterday that I don't think we can let slide. So all of BBN, especially the BBN fan media, they have safe statement to say that they have not been handling the big dog news very well.
Definitely safe to say.
They've been on tilt like years before last week in the recruiting class. Roush wrote a story for KSR yesterday after Kentucky picked up a 2-star defensive lineman. And it had this title: Is Texas the new Ohio for Kentucky football recruiting? I feel like we can go ahead and answer this for him. No, it's not. I mean, the big dog was going into Ohio, and he was beating out Ohio State for some guys. He was beating out Michigan for some guys when they were recruiting at their highest level. These guys that they're getting out of Texas are like 2-star, 3-star kids that they're beating out Texas State for. Like, UK's not going into the Lone Star State and going toe-to-toe with the Longhorns and pulling out 5-stars right now. This feels like a little bit of coping from our boy Nick Roush.
It does a little bit.
Like, everybody wants to recruit Texas. It's one of the big states in high school football recruiting. It always has been. It always will be. You know, we've tried every now and then to go down there, but the problem with programs like us going down into Texas, I know we had the whole Reuben Owens, the top-ranked running back in the country who got 502 tattooed on his arm and then promptly went to Texas A&M. When we've gone down there into Texas, like, we're getting the scraps. We're getting the guys that not just Texas didn't want, but that, like, didn't want to go to A&M or couldn't go to A&M, couldn't go to Baylor, couldn't go to all these other schools. We're getting like Jacques Caldwell back in the day coming here and playing for us. And more times than not, those guys haven't been really good enough to play. Like, the best players in the state of Kentucky are typically better than the third, fourth tier guys in Texas. And so we've been better off, like, recruiting the best players in this general area. If Kentucky's going down there and getting the scraps for Texas, that is not analogous at all to when you were going up to Ohio and landing 4- and 5-star recruits out of that state. I love Nick Roush. I do. I really do. I think he's an awesome guy. But I don't think any of these guys that they're getting from Texas are good. So I don't think that the comparison is really working. Now, get what you got to do. Blog life is blog life. Gotta get those clicks. Gotta get that attention. But I feel like this is not an earnest argument that's being made right now.
Take what they can get is what they're getting.
That's all I'll say. Because I like Roush. But no, to answer your question, Texas is not the new Ohio for Kentucky football. Nor will it ever be. But best of luck with the guys that Texas State and UTEP say thanks but no thanks to. 502-414-1450 is the Game Day Men's Health text line. Texter says, Roman, as a guy that's never met you and probably never will, I'm proud of you on how hard and diligently you have to work to keep your car running. It's extremely practical and the most affordable thing that you can do. Most people would just go justify an insanely expensive car loan and buy something new. You're an inspiration, not you, Mike.
Thank you.
I'm not at all.
I appreciate this. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I'm only able to do this because my dad has taught me the things that I do know and gives me the platform to use his tools in garage and have an area and use a car in the meantime. But I also, I'm glad I've learned the things that I've learned and I'm able to tackle these kind of issues and gain knowledge on my own vehicle and save money. It's nice.
I didn't get this gene in my family. So my dad's like a big car guy. My oldest brother is also a huge car guy. My other brother, certainly more than I am. I've never cared about cars. If you can get me from point A to point B, that's all I want. I'm not interested in how they work. I'm not interested in learning how to fix them. I just have no knowledge whatsoever. I wish that I did, because I definitely go, if there's something wrong with the car, I'm the easiest mark in the entire world. If I go to a repair shop, they can tell me whatever, and I'm like, all right, just please, just fix it and let me get out of here. I just want to go about my life. But you,
I'm the opposite. I'm like, I don't think that guy knows what he's talking about.
That's the way that I wish I could be. I am impressed.
I got to hear the same mechanic say 3 times the same exact answer before me to trust one.
I mean, I don't trust them, but I've also got no other course of action. Because they know that I don't know what I'm talking about. They know they could say, you need a new, right front carburetor. And I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound good. I didn't know they had right front carburetors. But I can't call them out on it because I'm like, I feel like they're taking me for a ride, but I can't say anything.
That'd be funny.
There could be, they could, I could drive my car off the lot after they just worked on it. And there could be a fire exploding in the back seat. And if they told me that that's what it's supposed to do, I'd be like, all right, that doesn't seem right, but I guess I'll keep going here. It's terrible. I hate it. I wish I wasn't this way. But I'm proud of you for not being that way, Roman.
Thank you.
Texture says, let's put these 3 events in chronological order. A, VJ King announces his commitment to Louisville. B, the first Raising Cane's in Louisville opens up on Westport Road. C, Mike Rutherford changed his Twitter Abby for the last time. I do need to update it. It's been a long time. But also, it's brand recognition now. I scroll and I always, I can tell when I see a post from somebody that I know based on their picture. So I need to make it, somewhat similar. I think that
Abelson worked at that Cane's.
That Cane's definitely opened up before I changed my Twitter Abby. Because I was living at the house that was over by there, which was before the wedding that I went to where that picture from my Twitter was taken. I think VJ King's commitment may have been after the Twitter Abby change. I think the Raising Cane's, I believe, was the first thing that happened there. Me changing my Twitter Abby for the last time, I think, was second. And then VJ King. Yeah, I mean, that picture's 8, 9 years old.
When are you going to change it?
I need to change it because I don't look like that anymore.
Yeah, I know.
It's just it's just a matter of laziness. My Facebook picture, I think, is even worse. I think it's from our rehearsal dinner.
That looks like your wedding.
At my wedding, yeah. It's been a long time.
But it being your wedding's okay.
Well, I mean, my wedding, coming up 11-year anniversary coming up in a couple weeks here, right?
But I mean,
a couple months.
People know you don't look like that. It's still okay to use that picture.
Thank you, Roman. Texture says, Roman Hater said, Mike, does the chair in the corner of the room need built to along with your new bed? I don't know what that means. Is that implying that someone's going to watch me while I sleep?
I think he thought maybe there's a corner in the room there on the camera. Or did you mention something about a new chair you got?
No.
in John's room?
No.
Mm.
No, we got to get rid of all the old baby stuff now. It's going to be sad. We got to get rid of like the little glider. I spent like the last 5 years of my life sitting in that thing, rocking kids. Get rid of the crib. It's going to be sad. But it's time. It's time to happen. Roman Hader also said, how many more sexual partners do you think this country would average if Scoots didn't live here? Come on. Stop.
I think the country, USA, has a lot of people who do save themselves for marriage.
Yeah. I still, like, I don't really buy that average.
Why not?
Well, because I feel like there's some people out there that have slept with like hundreds of people.
I know.
Like,
I mean, I feel like I know.
Yeah, like that would up
people
the
like that.
that would up the average for sure. For sure. That was I can't say that word. C chair reference. It's where you sit and like watch people. That's not funny. Texture, I think someone's trying to make a reference of a bleep chair. It wasn't funny. I agree. Texture says, for me, the highlight of the draft was Chloe Kitts in the red dress. Did you see that? Who's she?
I heard about it and I didn't see it.
She plays what, basketball at South Carolina?
Yes.
And who's she dating? Who was the guy? She dated the guy, the Colin Murray Boyles, who was so pissed off about being drafted by the Raptors. She's good at basketball. That's all that matters. Yeah. Texas Lazard guy here. By far my favorite thing about Pat Kelsey is his Denny Crum approach to scheduling. I love it. I mean, I do kind of wonder if this is going to be a consistent thing. You know, if we, let's say the ACC gets back up on its feet, it's almost, you're almost doing yourself a disservice if you schedule quite this aggressively, right? Like, if the ACC, I'm not saying we have to get to like 2024, 25 SEC level, where you're sending 13, 14 teams to the tournament. But if the ACC can get back to having 7 or 8 teams in the tournament and 2 or 3 teams as top 3 or 4 seeds, I don't know if you need to schedule 7 non-conference opponents that are all projected NCAA tournament.
Well, you got to play all those top 7 teams.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you already have, if you get to a point where your conference schedule gives you 8, 9, 10 games against guaranteed quad 1 opportunities, NCAA tournament type teams, you kind of only need 3 or 4 non-conference games against those same caliber of teams. But maybe Pat Kelsey just says, like, I want the gauntlet. Like, I want them to play the toughest schedule possible. I want to be one of those teams that can have a 21 and 11 record and still be a justified 2 or 3 seed because of the teams that we've played. We won't know that until we move on. Texture says, I've been sitting on this DM for a long time. Oh boy. I can't wait for the right moment to respond. It's not actually RC Cola. It's a guy named Conservative Evan or something like that. This guy DM'd him and said, you are delusional if you think Louisville is a better job and program than Baylor. Y'all are an absolute poverty dumpster fire, and Drew was never coming there, but enjoy begging from the scrap heap of Florida Atlantic University. Ha, 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 ha. This is somebody who sent him that text on March 20th, 2024. Yeah. These are the guys that I think are going to make this game against Baylor one that we really want. Because there was a lot of this going on. Like, we're Baylor, you're Louisville. And we're like, yeah, we know. But we view it totally differently.
RC Cola.
RC Cola. Texas, does the neutral site scheduling for some of our non-con have to do with manipulating quad 1 versus quad 2 games? Oh, yeah, for sure. This has become a thing where everybody's doing this because it benefits the programs. It doesn't benefit the fans. It doesn't benefit the objective viewer. I mean, when you watch a big non-conference game that's played on a campus site, it is an infinitely better viewer experience than watching I didn't care if the game's played at like Madison Square Garden or one of the historic buildings in basketball in America. You've got like 2,500 fans there, and it's sleepy. You've got Kentucky. The Champions Classic crowds are typically pretty good, but Kentucky plays in that CBS Sports Classic too. And I know they travel well for everything, so they'll have fans there. But when you get like even good teams like UCLA playing North Carolina in one of those games, it's a crappy environment. If you played that game in Chapel Hill, it'd be an incredible environment. But they do it because, one, it's what the TV people want, and two, now you get a better opportunity of having it count as a quad one game, even if your opponent has a less than stellar type season. So that's why you're going to see more and more neutral court games being played. Now I think we're making some progress there. You're seeing some big time opponents get together and do some home and home stuff, but yeah, I feel like this is going to be a thing that's not going to be rectified until they change the quadrant system or the net system. Texter says, "Hey Mike, I really enjoyed your book. Have you ever thought about writing another? I'd love to see the collection of stories that you've gathered over the rise and fall of Louisville basketball. There's a lot of misinformation, and I'd love a chronicle of Louisville from 2001 to the present." I'll answer your first question. So I signed a contract to write a second book, like right before COVID, I think, like 4 or 5 years ago, with I can't remember the publishing company's name. It's like History Press, I think. They do a bunch of historical stuff and a little bit of sports stuff. I had two issues. One, COVID happened. I ended up having to do more childcare stuff, and then I kind of got sick afterward. But also, like, at that point in time, like, I didn't know. We were in such a precarious spot as a program. I was like, how do I even end this at this point right now? It was right when all the MAC stuff was happening, and we were going in a different direction, and I was like, I don't even know how, you just go ahead and end the book with, like, the scandal stuff. I was like, if I'm writing a history of Louisville basketball book, I'd like to, I don't have to have, like, this sunshine and rainbows ending, but I would like to at least know how all the you don't want to end it with the scandal stuff after talking about all the glory of the 80s and winning a title in 13 and all that good stuff. So I was like, maybe we can revisit down the line, and they were cool about it. So I would like to at some point, but it's probably going to take getting to a point where I'm not working like 3 full-time jobs at the same time and having 2 small children. Also says, summer radio question. If a genie told you that it's guaranteed that someone from Louisville last year is being drafted, predict who it is. Are you talking about like this year's team?
From Louisville last year is being drafted. It sounds pretty clear.
So from last year's team tonight, I mean, I'd say Chucky.
Yeah, has to be Chucky.
I mean, I guess Terrence Edwards could. If he's saying, predict who from this year's upcoming team,
Michael, easily.
I'd say Michael, no question about it. If you're going to say, okay, better question, someone besides Michael Brown is drafted in the 2026 NBA draft, who is it? Michael goes, but another Cardinal hears his name called. Who do you guess it is?
Something in me says Sonny Frew, Mike, but I want it to be Kenai Roos.
I would say Adrian Woolley. I think Kenai's got NBA potential. I think he definitely has a possibility. Frew,
Woolley's a great shot.
Definitely. Woolley is super skilled.
If he just statistically replicates what he did there at the ACC level,
I mean, yeah, that's. I don't think anybody expects him to do that. But if he's,
I do.
I mean, I don't think he's gonna be like a 20-point per game scorer.
You're right, but I want 16.5 points per game.
I think that's a big ask for a guy who's probably going to be, like everybody else, kind of a rotation guy. But I think he can have games where he goes off. I think he can be a difference maker. To me, he is I think he's the guy that you point to and say, if he's not nearly as good, we talked about swing players on football yesterday on the show. I think he's the swing player on the basketball team.
Really?
Yeah. Because I think Michael's going to be good. I think, if he's a superstar freshman, then he takes us to a different level. If he's a little bit, I think he's a mature kid, but if the immaturity strikes a little bit, he can obviously make us worse. But I think you know what you're getting for the most part in Ryan Conwell and Isaac McNeely because they played college basketball for 4 years. I think you know what you're getting, obviously, with Javon Hadley, Kenai Roos to an extent, and Kason Pryor. Woolley, looked like an absolute killer, but he did so at Kennesaw State. Still, he was so impressive that a lot of people had him as a top 5 player in the transfer portal. If he can be like a guy who looks like an NBA player for us next season, I think we can beat just about anybody in the country. Like I think because McNeely and Conwell, they can get to the basket a little bit, but they're primarily going to be like they're catch and shoot guys. If Woolley can be this guy who can be a catch and shoot lethal outside threat
and be
but also gets
a
the
downhill scorer,
and finishes a bunch and is a creative passer, it just adds so much of an element to the offense that I'm not sure is there right now. And if he's not, then I think you lose that a little bit and you look maybe a little bit more like last year's team with better shooting. But you need somebody to be that the kind of guy that Terrence Edwards was last year, who can do some slashing, who can do some scoring. And he's the guy who, I know Michael's going to get downhill a ton as well.
He's going to be a playmaker, though.
But he's that, exactly. He's that guy that I think can have that mentality. And I think he's got the ability. It's always a question of how well it can translate from a mid to low major level to a very high level, which is where we are. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, more from you guys. Game Day Men's Health text line is bumping, 502-414-1450. We'll keep it rolling after the break. Keep it locked right here. This is the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, 1450, 96.1, streaming on YouTube, wherever you can find us. Big X Sports Radio. Welcome back in. It's the Thursday edition of the Mike Rutherford Show presented by United Mechanical, 1450 96.1 Big X Sports Radio. United Mechanical, they are your trusted partner for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration needs. Give them a call any hour, any day, any time. 502-339-1133 is the phone number. UnitedMechanicalInc.com is the website. I don't know how I get signed up for certain emails. Like, I'll get invited to, like, ribbon cutting ceremonies in Des Moines, Iowa, and I've got no idea how this is. So I just was checking the email during the break, and you've got like NBA draft, second round, biggest mysteries, volleyball schedule release, like all this stuff. And then right in the middle, the headline just says this, Roman: I was attacked by a hippo. What? I've got to open this email. I'm sorry. I know we have a ton of text to get to. This is from Esquire. What it feels like to be attacked by a hippopotamus. My husband and I were supposed to enjoy a relaxing canoe ride. What happened next, Roman, was anything but. It was my birthday. I'm not going to read this whole thing, I promise. December 1st, 2018. My husband Ryan and I had done a couple of long days on an African safari. So our tour group decided to do a nice, relaxing canoe ride on the Zambezi River. We'll have lunch, maybe, and get a different perspective for photos as we'd lower on the water and hopefully see something along the water side. The tour guide said the canoes were easy enough for 10-year-olds, no problem, relaxing, nothing to worry about. I've got to get to the point where the hippo attack happens here. Oh, I've got to pay for this? This is how they get you. This is how they get you. I usually don't get suckered into these things.
That is how they get you.
You got to pay $50 a year to read what it feels like to be attacked by a hippo? I just want to know. Man, out of all the animals that I wouldn't want to be attacked by, hippos are up there.
Yeah, they'd be one of the worst.
Hippos are terrifying. I mean, those teeth are giant. How do you survive?
You don't.
Well, clearly you do. Then you write about it for Esquire and charge me $50 to read about it. Come on. There's got to be a workaround here. I know there's certain websites you can go to like to hack into to avoid the paywall. Oh man! Apparently, this Guardian story from 12 years ago. Experience: I was swallowed by a hippo, and then the picture is this guy like it's like this guy who looks like he's about 60 years old, 1 foot up on a bay window, just staring out the window contemplatively, thinking about being swallowed by a hippo. There was no transition at all. No sense of approaching danger. It was as if I had suddenly gone blind and deaf. Oh, man. I'd rather be, like, bitten by a hippo than just a snap of a finger. I'm inside of a hippo.
That sounds awful.
This also was a kayak. I tell you what. I enjoy a good kayak. Have you ever been kayaking?
Yeah.
It's very relaxing. Get out on a lake in a kayak, away from the world, just you in the water, just hanging out. I will never kayak in a hippo-infested water or water where I think a hippo may be. Just by these stories. Oh, man. The bull simply... now I'm just reading about hippo attacks. Anyway, sorry. 502-414-1450 is the Big X text line. Which animal would you least like to be attacked by?
Polar bear.
Polar bears would make it quick, though. Right?
Maybe you're right.
You said that very quickly. I think you've thought about this before. Well, what about a polar bear specifically has you so fearful?
I just feel like they'd gash me up one good time and just kind of play with my corpse.
Yeah, that's the way that you don't want to go. You don't want to get some sort of just sick animal that just wants to bat you around a little bit. That's part of the thing with a shark. You see shark attacks, it takes a little bit of time. That's why I don't want the shark. Snake swallowing you whole would also be bad.
That would be bad.
Strangling you to death. Ugh. I don't want that. I don't know how we got here. This is Esquire's fault. Apologies. All right, the Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. A reminder, folks, if you haven't gotten the text enough, Game Day Men's Health, they're defining men's wellness. No shortcuts, just results. Testosterone, peptides, weight loss, and sexual performance therapy. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. They are defining a new era in men's health. Can they help with triglycerides? I let me say honestly before we go to the text line, I've received a number of people like via email and DM that have had genuine suggestions for like dietary things and other stuff that's like helped them with similar. I appreciate that. I'm going to try it all. Now, some of it I'm already taking, but some of the other stuff I'm like, yeah, this. They backed it up with like medical studies. I'm like, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I will take you at your word. So I'm excited. We're going to get the triglycerides down in 2025. Give me a hashtag. Hashtag down, moving for Mike. Anyway, this show's getting away from me. It's fine. Texter says, Roman, I need the name. Oh, you already got him for the love of money. Gotta get that money, paper, man. Gotta get that paper, man. Preach. How did you not know? I mean, come on, man. It's Bone Thugs. This has to be somebody about your age.
Probably, yeah.
For the love of
Yeah, I'm 22.
money.
Yeah.
Texter says, how much of this schedule is just PK wanting to schedule coaches and teams that he's always wanted to play but couldn't at the mid-major level? Also, do we play mid to low majors to come play basketball games like they do for football? I don't know what that second part means.
Pay.
Oh, do we pay? Said play. Yes. They're called buy games for a reason. When you lose them, they're very embarrassing because you basically we paid
to lose.
We paid Appalachian State $1.2 million
Pay Bellman.
to come into the KFC Yum Center and whoop our ass. Same with Wright State. Same with Lipscomb.
Stop,
Same with Arkansas State.
stop, Mike, stop.
It was bad times.
Each name it like does something to me a little bit.
It's a reminder.
You gotta like dodge those.
It's a reminder of how much better things are. But yes, we do pay. Everyone pays teams to come play the game, and it's this is like it's an ecosystem. Those while everybody would every fan base would love their power conference team to play nothing but power conference non-conference games. Mid-major programs like they need that money to survive.
Yeah, it keeps them going.
The low major programs. I mean, you look at there've been a couple good stories about this over the years.
What was last year's?
What?
Sorry, I interrupted. We paid somebody a lot last year, I think.
I mean, we paid all the teams that we played last year that came. We paid Winthrop. We played Morehead State.
Morehead, that was what I was
I
thinking.
mean, all those teams, they get money to come play here. Even UTEP, which is not like a low major program, we paid them to come play here. But there are, like, at the very lowest level of college basketball, when you look at those like MEAC and SWAC schools, the historically black schools, that their funding is very, very low, and then some of the schools up in like who play in the like the Northeast Conference, they'll go from like mid-November through the beginning of January without playing a single home game. Like, I think it was Texas Southern, who Mike Davis was the coach there. Now I think it's Johnny Jones, the former LSU head coach, who notoriously, like, they just scheduled the biggest and best teams, and they go on like a road trip every year for like 9 weeks, which is just brutal. We played them a couple of times, but like they'll play Gonzaga, Kansas, us, Kentucky, like whoever will play them, because that's how they have to fund not just their basketball program, but it's like how the athletic program gets funded. And for mid-major programs that feel like they've got really good teams, they also want those games because it gives them a chance to have an NCAA tournament at large resume if they slip up in their conference tournament. So, this whole thing is supposed to work like interchangeably. There's a benefit on both sides. We benefit because we get a game where we get to maybe get some guys some playing time, get some guys some rest, get a nice win that looks good, up our computer rankings, and they get money and an experience, and also the potential of coming into our building and pulling off a huge upset. So both sides tend to benefit. But as far as the first part of your question, I mean, I don't think that goes through Pat Kelsey's mind where it's like, I'm scheduling who I wanted to schedule when I was at Winthrop and Charleston. He already gets to play those teams. We played Duke last year. We're going to play Duke twice this year.
Yep, plays Kentucky.
Played at Rupp Arena last year. Like, he's already got that in the
North
ACC.
Carolina. You play big teams already.
And when he was at Charleston and Winthrop, they played competitive non-conference schedules because they were able to. People didn't want to schedule Charleston that much because they were a good mid-major. But when you look at they played North Carolina twice when he was there. They played when he was at Winthrop. They played Oklahoma State. So like he's played good teams before. It just hasn't been as consistent as it's able to be now that he's at Louisville, which is what you'd expect. Chris the Plumber said, "No boner pills needed. 100% white oak over here." Appreciate it. Also says, I will fall on the turkey rib sword if you don't like them. I'll tell you what you do, Mike. Ask for a cup of the White Lightning and then just take an empty cup to mix. Take the mustard-based barbecue sauce mix, the White Lightning with it half. I don't like mustard, though. Dip the turkey ribs in there and enjoy. Also, the potato salad and the skill set fried corn are my go-to sides. I'll do the White Lightning, although I'm not a big fan of white barbecue sauce. But I won't do the... I don't like mustard. I'm not a mustard guy. Roman, do you enjoy mustard?
I don't mind mustard. I'm excited, though. Potato salad, skillet fried corn. Sounds good.
I like skillet fried corn. Potato salad, it's got to be really good for me to like it. If it's too mayo heavy, I can't do it. I don't like it.
I just need some Tabasco if it is.
God, you put hot sauce on everything. I thought I was bad with the hot sauce. I think you're worse than I am.
Oh, yeah.
I can't eat breakfast food besides cereal without hot sauce now. It's bad. Or occasionally a bagel. But
It's
if
a
it's
must.
a bagel sandwich, I'm putting the hot sauce on.
I'm putting sriracha on a bagel with cream cheese.
Are you really?
Yeah.
If it's just straight bagel with cream cheese, I don't. But if it's a sandwich, little egg, little bacon, little cheese, I'm putting the hot sauce all over it. Texas, every conference should work together to have a window in late January, early February for non-con matchups. It's an absolute no-brainer. I hope that this is what happens because I think fans want this. We talked about Denny Crum and the way that he scheduled. That was always a staple of his non-conference matchups, too. When you go back and we were looking at the schedules from 97, 98, 99, it wasn't just that we played a gauntlet in November and December. He always had a really big-time opponent lined up to break up the, like I said, the monotony of conference play in February. You know, there were years where, we played North Carolina in February. I remember vividly one of the best, at the time, like days of my sports youth. In 2000, the same day that the Reds signed Ken Griffey Jr., we beat Syracuse, who was number one in the country. They had been undefeated. They just lost earlier in the week, or like the past weekend to, like, I don't remember who broke up their perfect season. But then we beat them their next game. It was incredible. We played those games. I remember we used to play UCLA late in the season. There was one year we played UMass when they were really good late in the season. Like, he loved doing that. And I think the fans really liked those games. The fans, like, Illinois and Duke, even though Duke ended up winning by 53, it had a big spotlight playing on Fox. Now Duke's going to play Michigan in the same type of game this year. Hopefully this becomes more of a norm where, I know we all love the big conference games, but, like, it's also cool to see, like, the best team in the ACC play the best team in the Big Ten late in the year, maybe a preview of, like, an Elite Eight game. I think it's fun. Texture says, what if ESPN did something like a rivalry day after the football season ends and has the doubleheader of Louisville and Kentucky followed by UNC and Duke?
That'd be cool.
You could do that, even if it's conference games. Like, you could set it up to where you had, like,
3 in a day if you want.
Hell yeah, you could do a full day where it's like Louisville, Kentucky, UNC, Duke, and you could have Auburn, Alabama, who've been really, really good programs recently.
Yep.
Michigan, Ohio State, who typically are good in most years. Make that a full day. Like, people would get into that. There are ways, I think college basketball is doing a good job of marketing itself for the most part right now. There are very obvious ways to make it better. I think they need a splash. They did well for a while there with the opening day. I think if you bring the Champions Classic back to opening night, it would help a lot. They could do more with opening night. Last year was kind of a blip. But where they have to always capitalize is that period of time between the Super Bowl and the start of the NCAA tournament. Because the NCAA tournament, people are going to watch regardless. But you could really, really get people more heavily invested with a day like that in the first weekend where there's no football. Because that's when people are really jonesing. They're fiending for something to get excited about, and that would do the trick. Texture says, do a doubleheader. Same kind of thought. Do a doubleheader Saturday, Louisville versus UK at 7, Duke UNC versus 9, or vice versa. I think this is a great idea. Also says this was the ESPN's NFL all-quarter century team. So this is the last 25 years.
Okay.
Quarterback, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes.
Fair.
Fullback, Kyle Juszczyk, whatever.
Okay.
I don't know. Do we need a fullback in 2025? Running back, Priest Holmes, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry. I don't know about that.
I don't either.
Wide receiver, Randy Moss, Julio Jones, Marvin Harrison. Also Calvin Johnson, Terrell Owens, Justin Jefferson.
Fair.
Tight end, Rob Gronkowski, Travis Kelce, Tony Gonzalez. No argument there. Lyman, who cares? Sorry. Jason Kelsey's the starting center. Head coach Bill Belichick. OC Kyle Shanahan. DC Wade Phillips. Special teams coach? Come on. Who cares? Dave DeKalb. I don't even know who that is.
DeMarcus Ware for edge, Jared Allen for edge, Aaron Donald tackle.
Myles Garrett also. Julius Peppers.
Is
what?
Priest Holmes, I feel like, is the name that I know he was great, but
this was before your time. He was like the can't miss number one fantasy draft pick when people like first started really getting into fantasy football in like 2003, 2004. But like, I feel like there are better choices. I'm looking at it right now. So, he was Offensive Player of the Year once, 3-time first-team All-Pro bowler, or All-Pro, 2-time rushing touchdowns leader. Only led the league in rushing, though, 1 time.
I feel like Adrian Peterson belongs on there.
That's kind of where I was going.
And, yeah, I think you could put LT up there as well. But I don't want to discredit Holmes. Also, I feel like McCaffrey's been doing this like 2 or 3 years. Like 3 years now. I feel like there's some guys that did it like 5, 6, 7 years straight.
Marshawn Lynch comes to mind. I don't know how his stats stack up. AP was the one that I'm like, yeah, I feel like you kind of have to have him in there. Sean McCoy.
Wasn't there a fullback for the Packers that was better than this guy?
People don't have fullbacks anymore. It's hard to say.
I get Kyle's a Swiss Army knife, but
I think he's also kind of known as much for his wife making clothes as he's anything else. He's very, very good, but that's sort of what first thing that comes to my mind.
I feel like he can't be the greatest in the last 25 years of the position. The guy I'm thinking of is like Kuhn or something. K-U-A.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Texter says, oh boy, how about this? I am one of maybe 2 people who listen to your show who attend New Jersey Institute of Technology. Look at this. We have an NJIT reference on the show today, and we immediately have somebody who goes to NJIT. So I feel qualified to give an opinion on them. NJIT's one truly talented player just transferred to Rutgers. I wrote about him today. Averaged 20 points last year. But he was a ball hog of incredible proportions, so the team might be better this year because of it. NJIT has some decent players, but they're all pretty young and small. I live in the same building as the basketball team, and I suspect some of them are overstating their heights because these 6'8" players do not look 4 inches taller than me. Frew should go for 20 and 10 minimum. Lastly, when you do the show with 3 hours of NJIT preview, which I'm sure is high on your plans, please let me know if you need any expert opinions. We got to have this guy on when we play NJIT.
NJIT guy.
NJIT guy. All right, Roman, do you know what the NJIT mascot is?
It's a bird of some sort.
No.
It's a road-running animal of some sort.
No.
I don't know what it is.
The Highlanders. The NJIT Highlanders. 6-25 last year. One of the worst teams in Division I, and they're not expected to be much better. Much better this year. I love that we have a listener who goes to NJIT. I think that's very cool. The player that averaged 19.1 points per game, Tariq, I'm not going to look it up. I just wrote about it today. I should know. Tariq Francis.
Okay.
He's going to Rutgers. He's supposed to be their starting point guard this year. So I included him in the story because I was like, Rutgers is going to suck this year, and they're probably going to fire Steve Peichel. So, yeah, I don't know if adding a guy who averaged 19.1 points per game from a 6-25 team is really going to boost the Scarlet Knights. I'm not sure he's the proper replacement for Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, but we'll see. Texter says, I'm texting to see if my boner is okay. Apparently not. There, you got the response. Look, you're just going to have to deal with it. I don't know what to tell you guys. You're going to have to just deal with it a little bit. Texter says, look, all I'm saying, I can't read. I'm not going to read that. You're going to have to deal with the boner text. It's not, don't act like these texts are aggressive. I see what they say. If you feel strong enough about your manhood, then it shouldn't be an issue. If you're confident enough in your equipment working properly, you should be fine. Texter says, what this shows about, hold on, I'm seeing how far you go back.
Last time Louisville faced Baylor was eventually Rick Pitino's last year as our coach.
It was. We lost in the.
If not for COVID pandemic in 2020, we probably would have been the number 4 seed in Baylor's bracket that season.
This is our guy Stallworth.
Kansas as the overall number 1 would have pushed Baylor out of Houston, sending the Bears as the top seed in Indianapolis.
He also says what this really shows about the recruits, Mike, is the vast majority of coaches can't duplicate John Calipari or John Shire. I agree with this. Say what you will about John Calipari. Certainly was not a big fan of his at Kentucky. He was able to consistently do something that nobody else in that era was able to, which was take all of these 5-star freshmen and have them put team success ahead of their own success. You saw, I named
still get them individual success.
Yeah,
it's like unreal.
He got them where they all expected to be, but then did so by having team success at the same time, at least until like 2017.
Yeah.
Now, other coaches tried to do that. Ben Howland was the biggest example. He saw him. They went to the 3 straight Final Fours. They started slipping a little bit, and he was like, all right, well, I'm just going to start doing what Calipari's doing. I'm going all in on these 5-star freshmen. I'm bringing in Shabazz Muhammad, who was the number 1 player in the class, and they weren't very good, and he got fired. Quanzo Martin tried to do it, got fired. Johnny Jones at LSU got fired. Like, everybody else who tried to do that at the time could not make it work, and there's definitely something to be said for it. And Shire's doing the same type of thing right now. Now, we'll see if it's still a limited sample size, but for right now, for sure. I saw the stat that yesterday was the first day, it was the first year since 2007 that John Calipari hasn't had a first-round NBA draft pick.
I did see something I skipped through. Is that true?
Yeah. I assume. I saw it everywhere.
2007. He didn't put anybody in. Yeah, you're right. First round, yeah.
That was back in Memphis days.
You're right. Wow.
And this was the first time since 2009 that Kentucky didn't have a player drafted in the first round.
That's crazy.
What's wrong with Mark Pope? Is it time for them to, ratchet the heat up a little bit in Lexington?
Better go get you some hot 5-star freshmen.
He's coaching for his job out there.
They got him a couple. I think they'll be better than they were last year.
0 for 1. 0 for 1. Now, it is kind of, if you're a UK fan, you look at that and you say, hey, first time in a billion years we didn't make we didn't have a first-round draft pick, but also the first time since, 2021 that we made the second weekend? There you go.
Yeah. Give and take.
Mark Pope's the guy. Kentucky first. Program first. All right, we got to go to break. 5 o'clock hour is up next. We'll keep it rolling on the Game Day Men's Health text line at 502-414-1450. We'll make some predictions on the big games ahead tonight. I've got one thought as well that I want Roman's take on. We'll get to that after the break. Keep it locked right here on the Big X. smooth Thursday. Imagine you just got off work. Long day. Very stressful. Boss is on your back, and then you hop in the car. Turn on Mike and Roman. You start grooving.
And you get home, and your significant other is listening to this in the house with some wine waiting for you.
Just like ready to go.
Perfect summer night.
Let's watch the new season of the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders. Pop some popcorn. Have ourselves a Thursday night. What else is there to do in the world? We got breaking news, which is, I don't know if he was doing this. I don't know. Okay. I don't know if it warrants this. Unless you've got other breaking news.
You said it, Mike.
I did say
I had it queued.
It's breaking NFL news, and I guess it's tangentially
I just saw it.
Related to our, as Ravens fans here around here, because of Lamar Jackson and Jai Alexander. But former Ravens kicker Justin Tucker suspended 10 games by the NFL because of violations of the NFL's personal conduct policy, namely whipping his penis out as he was getting massages from like every massage parlor in Baltimore, apparently. Don't do it. It's gross. Don't be a weirdo. Don't be a weirdo, and you'll get to keep playing NFL football. Justin Tucker, certified weirdo. I'm putting that stamp on it.
We do not rock with Justin Tucker on the show.
That's an official stance on the Rutherford Show. I feel confident saying that. We can put it out there. He's on the list now. The Mike Rutherford Show does not approve of the conduct of Justin Tucker. We are not pro Justin Tucker.
Should have been a 17-game suspension.
I mean, who else is on the list now? He's right there with Hitler. It's like Hitler 1, Diddy 2, Justin Tucker. Epstein's on. I don't think if we've ever clarified that, but we can toss him on there. We are anti Jeffrey Epstein. Not R.I.P. We don't say that. He's dead, but we still don't rock with him or anything that happened there. And Tucker's on that list. I think I can speak for the rest of the Big X Nation as well to say that they don't rock with Justin. Well, I can't speak for Scoots. I don't know what Scoots is. He's out there. Maybe feels a little bit different. But the rest of us, no. Not approving of Justin Tucker's behavior. Roman, let me ask you this before we get back to the Game Day Men's Health text line.
Ask me.
It's the second day of the NBA draft. I'm sure you'll talk a little bit about this on Recap with Roman coming up at 5:30.
Yes, sir.
But give me one name in the second round who you think we could look back at 5 to 10 years from now and say, I can't believe that guy slipped. He's been a big-time difference maker at the NBA level.
In the second round, Mike, that's tough. That's tough.
Who's a player floating around that's still available that you think?
Maxime Reynaud.
I can see that.
I think Maxime Reynaud, Ryan Kalkbrenner, they both have all of the tools to come and be immediately impactful with their body types and their skill sets. I think if you put those two in the right situation, Mike, like imagine Maxime Reynaud coming off the bench on the Thunder or the Celtics or a contending team that's going to actually get the time to work with him and build him up. Or the same thing with Kalkbrenner. He's already going to come into the league and be one of the best roll mans after a screen in terms of his timing, his catching ability, and his ability to hit shots in the paint. I think both of those guys have a lot of potential. Another name that I don't really like throwing out there, but I've on court purposes, Mike, I've always kind of liked what he's brought to the table as a player. I do Diarra.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be great. I think he's got the size. I think he's got the defensive upside. If he can lock in and be a defender, he kind of reminds me like a right-handed Terrence Shannon Jr. a little bit. Just not as skilled at the rim, but kind of similar abilities there. I feel like there's one more name I'm missing.
I was surprised that the kid from St. Joe's, Rasheer Fleming, slid to the second round. One of those guys that wasn't a huge college basketball name, but had the skill set. You watched him play, and you're like, all right, I can see why the scouts really like him. I think most people thought he was going to be a first-round pick. Would not be shocked at all if people look back and say, I don't understand that slide. But
and there's a chance. I mean, Chucky right now is the 30th best available player right now. Like Ryan Nimbard, R.J. Lewis Jr.
Whose list?
ESPN's.
Okay.
Official best available list. So
I would love to have him hear his name called.
He's above guys like Caleb Love, way above like someone like Caleb Love. He's way above a Jackson Robinson. He's way above a Sean Padula, obviously.
I can see Sean Padula making
not far behind a guy like Cam Jones. So it's a chance Chucky's name's called tonight. I think he definitely gets signed, Mike. that kind of potential defense. Like, I think you can't, like, he's a potential Jose Alvarado player type right there. Come in, instant offense off the bench with his shooting ability, nice shooting stroke at his size, can get the shot up over defenders that are bigger than him. He does not worry about a closeout. And then that kind of guy, he's just 3-and-D. He's going to full court press the other team's guard for however many minutes he's out there, and he's going to come in and hit open threes. And that guy, that player type, also being someone who can put the ball on the floor and create a play for your big man and get the ball to the lob threat. There's not as many great decision makers as Chucky in the draft left over. So it's hard for me to think that he won't. Well, he's definitely going to end up on a summer league roster. That's just I'd be willing to guarantee it just doing the things I've read. But I think he can get his name called. I really do. When you look at where the end of this second round is going, I mean, is Hunter Salas better than Chucky Hepburn, Mike? I get the body type might be a little bit better, more NBA upside-ish. Hunter Salas is not a better basketball player at this very moment than Chucky Hepburn. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. So I do think there is maybe a chance he can get his name called tonight. I would be surprised, but it is possible. I mean, you got guys like Kobe Brea, Javon Small, Cam Jones about 10, 12 spots ahead of him. So we'll just have to see.
I would love it if it happened. I think it would be awesome. It would be a deserved honor for a guy that clearly did a lot for us. I hope it happens, but like you said, either way, I think that he'll end up getting a summer league shot, and he's done all he can. I mean, the G League camp that he got invited to, he was the best player there. Sounded like every time he's gotten an opportunity, he's capitalized, and I'm sure
30 spots above Lamont Butler.
Really,
27 spots above R.J. Davis, 28 spots above Zakai Ziegler.
Ooh!
So none of those names getting drafted above Chucky if that does go on to happen.
I hope not. I can't imagine. All right, Game Day Men's Health text line 502-414-1450. We got a lot of text to get to, not a lot of time to make it happen. Let's roll before we have to make we have one game to pick tonight, and then we'll let Roman do his Big X Big Bets during recap with Roman. How are our Big X Big Bets last night?
2-1. Two and one nights in a row. We hit on the Louisville City FC money line last night.
They rolled.
We hit DeGrom on the mound for the Rangers, so we grabbed them. But Flaherty on the mound for Detroit, he can't figure it out anymore, Mike. He's not what he was at the start of the year, but they don't get the win for us. 3-run homer from him to ruin his outing. DeGrom almost went no-hitter. Did you see that?
I did. He's very good.
Texter says, is Chucky better than O'Connell from the Pacers? He's a better three-point shooter, but McConnell's 33 or 32 years old. McConnell's been playing at that level for a very, very long time now.
To make, right?
And McConnell's a stronger body. He's a better defender against the NBA body type than Chucky is. But give Chucky 3 or 4 years, and you never know.
Never know. Texture says, 502-414-1450, Roush published that Ponitowski is a top 10 quarterback when everywhere except off 3 has him ranked outside the top 25 QBs and not even as a top 250 overall player. Roush is a dweeb, and he looks like a bowling pin. Coping at an all-time high. That's not fair.
That's not nice.
Yeah. Also said I don't know
top
much.
10 quarterback when no one even has him top 20, 250 is crazy, Mike.
Also said I don't know much, but I know Glenn Rutherford is pulling up the average in the U.S. Stop. Not since he married my mom. Let's get some summer radio going. Each day, choose one Louisville athlete who would be in your Louisville Hall of Fame and spend one segment talking about them. Well, we can't do it today. We can do it tomorrow.
Anyone that comes off the top of your head, not football or basketball?
Tobias Hopper. Gigantic undershirt. Took threes. Loved him. Not a great player. Still loved him.
Go with Nick DeLeon.
Ooh, okay. The texture says, you need to ask Presley Meyer for his trivia questions from the last starting 502 pod.
Grab those from him.
What'd he say?
A lot of good stuff in those.
Well, I need to know. I feel like this is like specifically tailored towards us.
I didn't look at all of them. He got some last year stuff. He got some just the Louisville stuff.
Okay. I think it's a UK fan. Yeah, losing the big dog really, really hurts the UK staff. I bet you knows a lot about Texas football recruiting. I mean, I don't know if these are statements. I feel like you're trying to be sarcastic, but I feel like most Kentucky fans believe that losing the big dog did really hurt the UK staff. And I said we don't know a lot about Texas football recruiting because we don't go get players there. which is what Kentucky's doing right now. Congrats on your 2 stars from Texas. Texas, after we put Baylor in a blender, do we get to watch them spin around to a beautiful oblivion? Rendezvous, then I'm through with you. Also, if I had to guess why our sexual partner numbers are so low in America, I would put it on religion, specifically Christianity. We can't be sinning now.
Yeah, wait until marriage.
Yeah, but I mean, how many?
We got a lot of soakers, Mike.
Well, that's Mormonism. I mean, I think most people that we all know identify as some sort of Christian. And how many people do you know that in your life, like, waited till marriage? I mean, I know a handful, but
no, like 2.
The vast majority of people that I know did not. Texas, here's a random weird fact. Love it. Even with the addition of Texas State to the new Pac-12, all teams in the Pac-12 will be state teams. Boise State, Oregon State, Colorado State, etc. Well, Gonzaga's going to be in there. That's not a state team. I know they don't have football, but they'll be in the conference for everything else. Texter says, Mike is the guy who pays someone to hang his Christmas lights. Not true. What? Okay. Last year, those big trees, I couldn't get up there myself. We have gigantic trees in our front yard, and I had to get someone to hang those. Everything else I did myself. I like hanging the Christmas lights myself. I'm very specific about my Christmas decorations. But last year, we just moved into the house. We had those gigantic trees. I didn't want to go to Home Depot and rent a lift. That was the only other option. I may do it this year. But last year, I did have to find somebody to help us out with the trees. But I like doing the decorations. We invested in a new Halloween decoration. Got it on sale just a couple weeks ago. Very excited for the holidays to get it. That giant pumpkin is just itching to get back out there, Roman.
Almost that time.
Before you know it, it's going to be football season, and then right after that, giant pumpkin season.
That's what I joke. I'm like, this is like a joke I have with my friends, except none of them joke back with me about it.
About what?
Like,
decorating?
Well, just something that's 4, 5, or 6 months away. I'll act like it's like a month or so away.
It's right around the corner.
Birthday right around the corner. Like someone about with a birthday like mine, like November 13th. Your birthday's coming up. My friend will be like, no, it's not.
Well, this is what we do with college football, but we do it genuinely. When people are like, only 100 days away. It's like, it's not close at all. It's like 3.5 months. 66 days. You realize how much can happen between now and then? It's a long time. But we want to believe that it's close. It's almost Christmas time. Got to figure out what I'm doing with those trees. Texter says, as an R&B guy, I hate All My Life with a Passion.
Oh, you can't do that.
Awful song, Where I Want to Be is top 10. This is where I want to be.
All My Life is not awful. Don't do that, Lazard guy. I'm disappointed.
The chorus kind of still hits.
It's a famous like event song.
It was a big dancing song. You know what's weird though? Every time I hear it, I think about there was long-time listeners of the show will remember my thoughts on the original podcast Serial. I am firm in my belief that Adnan Syed committed murder, that he did it. And there was a special on HBO that was going into the series a couple of years ago, and he talked about how he and the girl that he killed and says he didn't kill, like their song was All My Life. And like they played in the background and they had all these like graphics. And now every time I hear it, it's all I think of is that. I'm like, also that's a terrible song. Like it was like you could have it as your song when you were like 12. I feel like being 18, you should have had a different song.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, Cubs fan Brian's back. Suck it, Mike. We knew he was going to start with that. Heard you talking smack yesterday. Sorry I haven't been around recently. I've been too busy scouting little leagues around the Kentuckiana area looking for somebody who could shore up the bottom of the Cubs rotation. Couldn't be worse than it is now. Anyway, speaking of rotations, congratulations. The Reds have sucked hard enough and long enough to draft an entire rotation of talented arms, this is true, which is going to make it all the more hilarious when the inevitable crash and burn happens. Until then, I'll be seeing you. Oh, Cubs fan, Brian, that's weak stuff. You can tell the Cubs are slumping. He's got nothing right now, and he knows the Cardinals are rolling. They're not going to win that division. I told you they weren't going to win the division. I'm not saying we will. Cubs aren't winning that division. The real Cubs are coming out. Texter says, hey, Mike, I read your first book, and I'm waiting for the next. Just kidding. I didn't read your book. I'm scared of the second verb in the title. Do. I feel like I'll be educated on the 1986 title, then be surprised with 10 burpees. Roman, I'm 28 and have passively played golf since age 14, and my best rounds are in the low 90s. I'm excited for you to realize how quickly a round can unravel. You know me, by the way, but I'm not going to reveal myself. Mike, I've not read your book. He's made it clear that he didn't read the book. He's not going to read the book. He knows you and does not think that you're ever going to break 100 in golf.
He didn't say that.
He implied it.
He just is excited for me to realize how quickly a round can unravel.
He's not wrong about that. It's the worst thing about golf. You can be striking the ball really well, and you hit one bad shot, and then like put yourself in a terrible position, and all of a sudden like one bad hole, you make an 8 on a 4, ruins the whole round. It's a terrible feeling. Terrible feeling. Texas Bourbon Guy here. What's up, Bourbon Guy? I'd say it feels pretty painful to be attacked by a hippo. There, I saved you $50. I want to know more. You can't give me a headline like that and then not let me read it. Texas says, Mike, you would indeed not want to be bitten by a hippo. I feel confident about that. Also, I'm good on the erection front. There we go. I mean, every text now is just going to get this. Every time someone texts in for the first time. Texture says, it's not a polar bear, but the scene from Revenant is terrifying. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
It was everyone saw the movie and they kind of instantly forgot about it. Leonardo DiCaprio, he fights a bear at one point. It's very rough. It's a bad scene.
Oh, I know. Okay.
It was pretty famous. He gets ripped apart by a bear. It's bad. Texas Mike, another LCP nominee, is the KP Mafia. Mad that KP got fired, and we're the main people telling everybody not to show up for games. I feel like that wasn't as much of a thing this past year, though. Like there weren't. I mean, maybe it is, and maybe I'm just not seeing it. But I felt like it was pretty hard to be like a Kenny Payne deserved a third-year guy this past season when you saw Pat Kelsey do all the things that Kenny Payne said weren't possible in that short amount of time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, did you hear his? I feel like we didn't get much of it on the show to begin with, but there would be a handful of texters in, especially that first season, who were like, "This isn't on KP. This is on the players. This is on blame Rick. This blame whoever." And there was certainly less of that in year 2 when we didn't really get any better. And then last year, I felt like even the people that you would see every now and then on Twitter just kind of piped down and were like, all right, we're wrong, which I applaud. It's,
I saw a couple people trying to, if the subject got brought up, Mike, they wanted to try to stand on business, as the young people would say, about why they felt they were right in the last 2 years still.
Really?
Yeah. That exists still a little bit.
I don't know how you can do that. Like,
I don't either.
There's no defense at this point.
No,
like
not at all.
You've got no.
It was indefensible in live time.
Right, but like you could like make up stuff. Like, oh, if so and so had happened,
yeah,
you could say like at the time theoretically like no coach in college basketball could do any better. And now I feel like that's impossible to argue when Pat Kelsey came in here, entirely revamped the roster in a snap of a finger
with the same set of resources.
Exactly, and won whatever it was, 26 games last season. Texture says, I hate agreeing with Chris the Plumber, but 100% on the turkey ribs. As an added bonus, when you're finished, the bone looks like a sword.
All right, I'm excited now.
That's going to be fun.
Everybody's saying that they're this good, Mike.
I mean, these things have been hyped up. This is the most anything's been hyped up on the text line since YouTube TV. Hopefully this lives up to it better than YouTube TV did. Oh, here come the YouTube TV people. You can hear the thundering. You can hear the keyboards pounding now. How dare he? How dare he? Texture says, turkey ribs, mac and cheese, baked beans, white lightning on the side. It's undefeated. Everyone's saying
mac and cheese, baked beans?
I'm a mac and cheese guy.
I'm a mac and cheese.
Not as much of a baked beans guy, but I can give it a roll.
I'm actually a little bit of a weirdo, Mike. I'm going to eat everything one at a time kind of a guy.
So am I.
Especially if it's quality food with sides like this. But I'll let the mac and cheese in the I don't actually care if my food touches, but like I'll actively put the mac and cheese on top of the baked beans. I'm not really big on mixing the foods like drastically. A bite is one thing. Mixing a bite, you got to do that. You got to get the perfect bite. But I don't want to, combine the flavors on the plate too often. But I love a good. All right, we're going too deep into that.
No, I'm the same way too. We were going too deep, but we're on the same page. Text says Scoots. Oh, it's a Scoots text. We got to read it now. The KRC text we obviously read. Drive in with Dingus text we're going to read too if you send them during the show. Scoots, I think the reason Stephen A. is shown so often is ESPN wants to expose him as much as possible, given that they're shelling out $20 million a year for him. Well, yeah, that's obvious.
Is this like they're texting into Scoot's 7 a.m. show at 5 p.m.?
Yeah. Scoots has a big podcast audience. I love the Scoots promo that we're running too, where he's like,
I wonder what he said about that.
He's like, I think the Thunder are going to be good moving forward. I'm like, nice. Love it, Scoots.
Yeah, they're going to, I mean, he's the face of ESPN. He's getting overpaid. They're going to put him on the face of everything.
It's absurd that they're paying him that much.
I saw a good point last night that, like, just who they select for cover. Like, I didn't watch the coverage, but the fact that Bob Myers isn't, you've hired Bob Myers to be full-time media for you. He knows more than anything about that process of anyone that you had on the coverage last night, and they didn't have him on there? That's just, Kendrick Perkins doesn't know anything about the late first-round draft picks.
No. Or the early
Or what it means to be a team in that position at the very least. Like, grab somebody who knows how to speak about that kind of stuff. They keep setting themselves up for failure broadcast after broadcast.
Could not agree more. Texas, the bear fighting strategy. I've actually heard this. I don't remember where it was, but I heard it recently. If it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lay down. If it's white, say goodnight.
Yeah.
Disgraceful that Leo's first Oscar was via The Revenant. It's not a great movie, but it's a movie that has zero rewatchability.
What was the one that says yell? If it's black,
fight back.
If it's
brown, lay down. Play dead. If it's white, you're gonna die.
Oh, okay. So if it's brown, I've seen videos that seem like they're real videos. These days, you can never know for sure. People literally like in a forest or in a wooded area, forest-like area, and they just sit there when a brown bear comes by, and he comes up right up by them because they just stay still and don't make any noise. He just leaves them alone.
I've seen, the same types of things. Just be still.
It's cool.
Be very hard to do. YouTube truthers and the bidet. Oh, I forgot about the bidet crowd. Remember the whole bidet battle we had?
Yeah.
Jetstream, I can't read that, but yeah, that was a
You're shooting duty water everywhere.
I'm not gonna get back into it. I'm not gonna let that happen in the last 2.5 minutes of today's show. But yes, Texas, since 2000, every national champion has played in the closest first weekend pod from their campus. In Louisville's case, the closest in 2026 would be St. Louis. We've not played a game there since the Final Four in 2005.
This is the kind of guy I want to watch a game with, Mike.
Stallworth.
Yeah.
He knows his stuff. Texas, the turkey ribs are fire. Oh, excuse me. They can be acquired from Kingsley's, Frank's, and Crestwood Meats.
Ooh.
Really?
Kingsley's. They've got good stuff.
Kingsley says and they're all over the place, too. Texas is Mike. Oh, God, a little dumper. Mike, disrespect YouTube one more time, and I will have to call you Matt Jones because he also hates YouTube TV. Do you want to be considered a loser?
That's so weird. I bet.
I don't hate it. I just feel like the people who support it are way over the top. That's my whole thing.
Let's have your buddy stop working at Spectrum and then see how you feel, Mike.
DirecTV.
AT&T. We know you're getting a discount.
I am.
We know you're getting a cheaper price than what the YouTube TV
That's
is.
why I'm not going anywhere.
That's the only reason you don't have it.
But I don't think I would go to YouTube TV.
You would. You can watch 4 games at once.
They're up. You can watch 4 games at once anywhere. They're up in the price now too. All these great deals now.
Oh, I wouldn't know about anything about that.
Yeah.
I've got Abelsons.
I'm saying. Texas least cool guy nominee, the dude who threatened the J6, the hiring ceremony for Pat Kelsey, so the school had to make the presser private. I don't remember this. Was there a guy who threatened the Pat Kelsey press conference?
To J6, the hiring ceremony? I don't remember that.
I don't remember that at all. But if that happened, then that guy absolutely belongs in the least cool person tournament.
What is J6?
January 6th.
Oh.
Threatened to, storm it.
Oh, I see.
Break it up. Texture says, tell your text line to stop. Stop. TJ said I can't say that word on the radio. Cuck. I just did it.
I wouldn't. Again.
Well, if I get blamed for it, then that's TJ's fault. I'll send him the bill for my FCC fine. That's fine. We've got a couple things going on tonight. NBA draft second round is happening. We've got U.S. women's national team is playing Ireland tonight in continuing its summer tour. Rocket Mortgage is happening. There's not a lot. I'm lying here. There's not a lot happening tonight. Give me a prediction though. USA women's national team taking on Ireland 9:00 on TBS. Who gets the win? USA or the Come On You Girls in Green?
USA gets the win. They're going to do them in, Mike.
USA gets the win. Make a prediction now. Who's the first player taken with the first pick of the second round of the NBA draft?
The boy from St. Joseph's.
Rasheer Fleming?
Yeah.
That's what I'm going with as well. All right, we got a recap with Roman coming up next. You're going to want to keep it locked right here until 6 o'clock. He's got you covered. I'm back tomorrow at 2:30 to wrap up the week. We will talk to you then. Until then, go Cards.
Go Cards. Go Chucky.
The Mike Rutherford Show was brought to you by United Mechanical. John Burke's United Mechanical is your trusted partner for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration needs. Call United Mechanical at 502-339-1133. Go Cards.
Hey there, New Albany. This is Mayor Jeff Gahan. It's another year here in our River City, and what better time to show your support for our high school's athletic programs. Whether it's basketball or football, track and field or soccer, swimming or tennis, our Bulldogs are giving it their all on the field and court. So let's rally behind them, New Albany. Come out to the games, cheer them on, and let's make some noise. Let's show everyone what it means to be a part of the best city in Southern Indiana. Go Bulldogs!
Hello, I'm John Burke, president and owner of United Mechanical. My Christian faith is the foundation on which my company operates. Since 1999, United Mechanical's workforce has provided quality and dependable HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and refrigeration services for all of Kentuckiana's commercial and industrial businesses. Our mission is simple: to deliver a comprehensive array of reliable services in an ethical manner and always put our client first. Call United Mechanical at 502-339-1133. That's 502-339-1133.
Get your Saturday morning wake-up call on Big X Sports Radio. Wake Up 502 with Rashawn Myers every Saturday morning from 9 until 11 a.m. Only on WXBW 96.1 and 1450 a.m. The Big X, joined by the architect himself, Haven Harrington. They bring you all the sports commentary and opinions on both local and national sports you need to get your weekend started. Wake Up 502. It's more than just talk.
Cards fans, incubate your inner entrepreneur with U of L's top-ranked Innovation MBA. In just 12 months, gain the confidence and connections needed to spark your entrepreneurial spirit. Learn best practices from U of L's award-winning faculty, serial entrepreneurs, venture capitalists, and national business leaders, all while competing for thousands of dollars in startup funding in business plan competitions. Start your journey today. Visit business.louisville.edu/U of L MBA.
Louisville women's basketball season tickets are on sale now. Coming off their 15th consecutive season with 20 or more wins and 16th NCAA tournament in the last 17 years, we can't wait to have you join the fun next season. View your seating options and lock in your tickets today at gocards.com/WBB tickets. Go Cards!
Powder Cake Fireworks in Jeffersonville is overstocked with the newest and most powerful fireworks allowed by law. Firecrackers, Roman candles, and rockets are all buy one, get one free. And right now, buy any specially marked 500 gram aerial display and get two more for free. That's right. Buy one, get two free. Supplies for this incredible offer are limited, so hurry to Powder Cake Fireworks, I-65, exit 0 in Jeffersonville. We don't double our prices and then discount. We just discount.
Not everyone can be a champion in high school sports, but everyone can be a champion of high school sports.
That's right. Fans and parents can be champions. Coaches and officials, educators, and the media can all be champions of high school sports. I'm Paul Knighty, Commissioner of the IHSAA.
And I'm Assistant Commissioner Janie Ulmer. Being a champion of high school sports is about so much more than winning and losing, setting records, or raising trophies.
It's about supporting the mission of education-based athletics, preserving the opportunity for student athletes to grow and develop in the second classroom, and to protect high school sports for future generations to come.
Champions of high school sports are just one of the many reasons that education-based athletics in Indiana are so special.
And the easiest way to be a champion is by buying a ticket to your high school's athletic event.
This is showing support. This is championing high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
Hey, I love salsaritas. Why? Flame grilled meats, house-made chips, fresh-made salsas for fast takeout, office catering, or your summer celebration. Try salsaritas. Visit them at St. Matthews or in Middletown, or order online for special offers.
We know to contact Indiana 811 at least 2 working days before every dig. Contact Indiana 811 and White Line before every project. Learn more at 811.safedigindiana.com. Sponsored by the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission and aired by this station.
If you haven't been to Valley View Golf Club lately, you'll hardly recognize it. Building off improvements already made with tap-ins and our golf simulators, you can now visit the newly renovated 19th hole and outdoor patio with new furniture and plenty of shade by day and a fire pit after dark. Conditions of the golf course, services, and clubhouse renovations are other areas you'll see improvements. Individual memberships are nearing capacity, and there's new pricing and programming to the new family memberships. Gear up for spring and come see Valley View Golf Club today.
Hello, I'm John Burke, president and owner of United Mechanical. My Christian faith is the foundation on which my company and I operate. Our mission is simple, to deliver a comprehensive array of services in a moral and ethical manner and always put the client first. Since 1999, United Mechanical and its workforce have provided quality and dependable HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and refrigeration services for all your commercial property needs. Call me, John Burke, 502-339-1133.
Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in